And just like a red, white, and blue phoenix rising from the ashes of political bipartisanship, we are back to Salt of the Streets podcast.
It is Saturday, February 16th, 1:41 p.m.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Salt of the Streets podcast, your one and only source for social and political commentary on weekly news, pop culture, and sports, all built from the ground up for people like you and me, the everyday normal person. Join us as we discuss life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and continue our endless efforts to bridge the gap between people and information. As always, we are your hosts. I'm Colin.
I'm Donovan.
And coming up on this week's show, President Trump announces a national emergency on the southern border. We have the funding bill passed this week, or it's getting put up this week. But we're going to talk about the funding bill that is, or no, it did just passed on Friday.
Yes.
Just in the nick of time to avert another partial government shutdown. We also are going to be getting caught up on the State of the Union address, and then we're going to be taking a break and looking at the lovely Green New Deal, which I'm really excited about.
I'm going to learn a lot today.
All that
like you guys.
And much, much more coming up on this week's episode. Oh, but before we get rolling into that, it was just Valentine's Day.
Yes.
What'd you guys do on Valentine's Day?
Jordan's family does like a family event. Everybody comes over to the Keyport House. So part of living in the Keyport House is hosting Valentine's Day and Christmas and like certain holidays like that. 4th of July.
Yeah. Pause button before you go any further.
Yes.
I know I asked you a question and I just interrupted you. I think that we might have actually talked about this on the very first episode. Either that or it was our practice recording. I think so. Because it's more or less, it's been a year since we started, right?
Yes.
So it's got to be, because I feel like I've asked you this before on microphone. But anyways.
I'm interested now. Yeah. So I'm going to go back to episode number 1 and I'm going to see if
I'm curious. Yeah.
It was probably weird. I haven't listened to those old ones.
Me
Okay.
neither.
I don't look forward to that. Okay. So our family comes over to the Keyport House and we have heart-shaped meatloaf. And this year we had like a baked potato bar instead of mashed potatoes because usually Jordan makes the mashed potatoes now. But the baby, it takes a long time to do all that. So she made a cheesecake instead and it was fucking delicious.
Oh, Jordan is a ridiculous baker.
Yeah.
Man.
It was really good. The cheesecake was bomb. And then I drank a bunch of beers. Other people helped my baby. So that was cool.
So many people holding your baby?
No, not so many because it wasn't too many people there. But it was just nice to like, take him.
Yeah, please.
Do it.
For a second.
I'll drink this beer. You take that baby. Like,
that's awesome.
That'll be nice. So, yeah. So we did that and then went to work the next day. Because that was Thursday.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that was kind of messed up this year. I have a feeling it was like that last year and I just didn't notice, but for some reason I noticed this year. It was like, well, fuck, man. What did I get? Couple hours at night and then we got to go to bed because we still got to go to work tomorrow.
What did you guys do on Thursday?
We both worked all day. You know, we both get home pretty late. And so we had a nice dinner and watched, we had a nice bottle of white wine that I got from New Zealand.
Ooh.
I bought it at the grocery store.
That classy shit.
Yeah, it was really nice. And then we watched Love Actually. Great movie.
Yeah.
Every time I haven't watched it in so many years, but I just forget. It's such a good movie.
Liam Neeson.
Yeah. And it's basically a Christmas movie.
Yes.
And I've never really kind of put that together.
It's a love Christmas movie.
Yeah. So we're going to put that into our Christmas movie routine.
Yeah.
And along with like Die Hard.
Christmas.
Just Die Hard is definitely a Christmas movie.
Yes.
But yeah, that was it because I had to get up and go to work again, like you said. But how is work going anyways now that because we missed last week because of the snowpocalypse, snowmageddon.
Yes.
You didn't really talk about going back to work yet. Has that been like a thing?
Yeah, no, I went back to work. Last week was the first week back to work. And it was fine. I didn't forget anything. I thought I might forget some stuff, but everything else.
Oh, no.
It's fine.
The wheel, riding the wheel is like riding a bike.
Yeah. It's
like you'll never forget.
No. So no, it was cool. But that's it. Work is weak.
Work is
Yeah.
Takes away now from your family.
Yes, it was nice. Well, so on the days that Dax is upset, it's nice to go to work, right? Because like when I'm getting ready for work in the morning, they're still sleeping, So I had the first time since he's been alive where I was up completely by myself, which was
kind of a trip.
rad.
Yeah.
And so I was telling Shane about it, Shane and Kyle about it when I was at work. And Shane has 4 daughters, and it's like, I love going to work. I was like, I can see that. Like, I sympathize with that feeling now. I mean, I love being at home too, but yeah, it's like, I don't know.
It's like almost like a separate life, you know, like you have your home life, your work life, and then there's like free time
Yeah, because
so it's like a sub level of free time.
Because it's not exactly relief because I'm at work, you know, but like that job's not like super stressful, but I'm also like thinking about being at home because I feel bad that she's having to like take care of him by herself. And, so it's interesting, you know. It's a strange deal.
I bet. Getting back to work's pretty easy though.
Yeah. The ratio, you know, is something I'm still working on. The ratio of working and then coming home and making sure that I'm doing enough with the baby, but also like could I get in like a blog post on, you know, or like something else that I need to do, you know? Yeah. Like that's
as busy as I am with all the podcast related stuff, I can't imagine what it would be like to add something as responsibly
all encompassing.
Yeah. That just sucks so much time. I don't know how it would do that.
It is just something that you figure out. It's like, I don't know. I just take it day by day, you know, because he's not the same every day. He's doing something different, or acting a different way, or doing whatever. So it's a constantly adaptive to however he's deciding to be at that particular time, you know. So,
damn. Well, I think we want to start talking first about the State of the Union. So we're just going to jump into this, I think.
I don't know that people would like how brutally honest I'm prepared to be about the first month of having a child. So
I think it's great, first of all, because I don't think anybody ever sugarcoats it.
Yeah.
Until after they've gone through it. But for like all this stuff that you're talking about and all the things that me and you have talked about over, you know, the last few weeks, I have heard those exact things from some of my friends in the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
You know, young families having their first kids and people like at fucking wit's end, ready to just lose it.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden it's like you find this point, or the kid grows up to this point or something like that, where all of a sudden everybody, you find your new groove. You know, you just adapt to your new situation, and then all of a sudden life kind of gets normal again.
Yeah.
And so I think for you to talk about it I don't think it's like it's not a bad thing is what I'm trying to say.
I told,
for one, I like to hear about it. So,
so I told Jordan's mom, like I love him. I mean, I couldn't love him anymore. You know, I love holding him and all that stuff. But, being a parent to an infant is easily like my least favorite activity I've ever taken part in. You know, I don't like it at all. Like it's hard work. It's frustrating and it's hard and it's stressful and it's like, you know, I don't know. It's all kinds of stuff that like I obviously knew was going to happen, but there's no way to, I don't know. It's just all sounds stupid and cliche as fuck, but like there's no way to prepare like your brain for it.
Yeah, no one's ever ready.
And I just don't. I talked about like in my blog post this week. I just don't work that way. Like my brain doesn't work in the way that babies operate. You know? Like you know from as long as we've known each other and as many conversations as we've had, my brain works very logically. Like that is very much how I operate. And when something is not logical, it frustrates me and it like causes all kinds of problems. And babies operate on no type of logic at all.
No,
like there is no.
It's just pure
there's
insanity.
Nothing to it, you know. So it's just a hard thing for me a hard mental barrier for me to get over. That there's sometimes this won't be logical. Like I have to get out of that mindset that I live my whole rest of my life in, because it doesn't in this particular area. It doesn't work, you know, and that's a hard thing to, especially for someone as to be kind to myself, as stubborn as I can be. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can be very hard to be like, okay, well, you have to change your behavior because it's not going to work here. You know? Like, you have to, in almost every other facet of my life, like, I can almost kind of be like, no, this is how, like, it's, you know, I can like command it a little bit more. In this, it's not.
You can no control.
He is very much my son in the way that he wants what he wants at that time. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what you have to do. So it's
well, in your defense, I think most babies are like that.
Yeah.
Like most babies are they just suck up all the attention all the time because I mean they're babies. They have to. Otherwise they'll die.
He just screams too. Is the thing. He's so loud. Like most babies have like a cry and then like a scream.
Mm-hmm.
He has like a scream. And then, like, just steps it up just a little bit, you know.
So
like,
basically, he is his father's son, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
This is your fault.
He's so loud, and I feel terrible about it, you know.
Man, see, you should have lived your life different, man. Been a quiet, outspoken person on the side, but still talking.
And it sucks because I know that it sucks because I know that this won't benefit him. Like I know from personal experience that being in school, that's only going to be difficult because you're going to have friends, and if you're doing bad shit, you're going to be the one that gets in trouble because they're going to hear you. You know, that sucks. Like,
I mean, it'll work great if he ever gets lost.
With any luck, he'll be more normal sized. So at least, like, because I stood out because I was loud and I was taller than everybody and shit. With any luck, he's a normal sized baby. So with any luck, he'll stay normal sized, and then at least he'll just be loud.
Normal
sized. But we'll be able to blend in if he's quiet. You know?
Man,
so
just keep him off of the organic foods and stunt his growth as much as possible. Maybe start introducing caffeine at a very young age. I heard that makes you short. I don't know. My half brother Aaron is the shortest one of the family.
Really?
And we're all boys, all four of us. Yeah. And we're all pretty tall. You've met my brother Chad.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not insanely tall, but he's still a pretty tall dude.
Tall for a regular person.
Yeah. And then we have our brother Aaron, who is like a couple inches taller than my wife, maybe.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
He's hella short?
Yeah, he's pretty short.
Oh, bad.
So, and we give him shit all the time. We always
Does he hate it?
He's a pretty fun-loving guy, so he pretty much embraces it. He goes with it.
That's really funny.
I try not to do it too much.
Sucks.
There's like those. There's like those little things where every now and again it's funny, but then it's not funny if you do it all the fucking time because then you're just an asshole.
Can you get this out of this bottom cabinet for me?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've never done that one. Usually I just walk up to him and put my arm on his shoulder as like a perfect shoulder rest.
Should ask him to get some. Hey, will you grab this out of the bottom drawer for me?
I wouldn't do that.
I can't get down there.
He's really, really he's the electrician. And in the old garage of the studio in my house,
yes,
it sometimes the wiring has issues.
Yeah,
and I don't know dick about electricity, and so I call him up and be like, "Hey, man, can you come help me out here before my house burns down?
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure something's wrong here."
Electricity freaks me out a little bit.
Yeah, it
I
does.
don't really like to fuck with it.
No, it freaks me out.
I also have a dude that I know that does electricity for me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I'm like, I just don't.
Yo, watch this.
Uh-oh.
And then we're back in just like that. Money.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what's going on with this thing. But anyways, I was going to say I have the perfect segue. We were just talking about my brother, the electrician. And you know what else was electric? The State of the fucking Union, baby.
Oh, God.
I love a good, bad segue. There's like, it's almost like a niche in podcasting and stuff now is like the pre-announced super cheesy segues.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of having a weird segue.
That one was bad.
Just the fact that segue is now almost an everyday term in our society.
Yeah.
It's weird. Weird, right?
So,
I never heard that until like probably the last, I don't know, 6-7 years maybe.
I don't know that I can say I have noticed an apparent uptick in the use of the word.
You're just not
segue.
old enough, Don. You were born into this shit.
Yeah, I don't have a large enough sample size.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I lived in the old days where like, you didn't have a smartphone You had like those old Nokia phones, and that was what it was. I remember when my mom got the first brick mobile phone.
Yeah.
Before that, the car phones.
I have never had a car phone.
With actual like squiggly cords.
Which I just think is strange. Like, how does that even work?
Yeah, I don't know. But it's crazy.
Who knows? It's magic like a cell phone. So you watched the entirety of the State of the Union, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I totally did. I watched it twice, actually.
Okay. So
this was back. We were going to talk about it last week, of course. That would have been the week after. It was on February 5th.
Yeah.
I think it was like at 6 or 7 o'clock at night.
6 o'clock.
Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah, and I didn't watch it live. I watched it in like a couple days after that. But I just took notes like as I went through it.
Yeah.
Right. So
I should have done that the first time. But I didn't. I just watched it for watching it. And I was like, man, I should be taking notes right now.
The first thing that I wrote down was that he said this was the agenda of the American people.
It's very unifying.
Yeah. And the green things I have here are all quotes that he said, right? So he said, victory is
stealing that note-taking ability, by the way.
3 pens.
Like that idea.
Yeah. 3 pens. The purple is, I'll take a picture of this and I'll post it. You guys can see it. The purple is things that are factual information. The green is things that are quotes. And then the black are either, I don't know, they're just notes,
Just notes.
Yep.
Thoughts, if you will.
Yeah.
That's going to be a dope Instagram post.
Yeah, so he said this was the agenda of the American people. Then he said, victory is not winning for our party. It is winning for our country.
Amen.
He said that. There was 3 members in attendance who fought on D-Day, which was wild as fuck because it's 75 years since D-Day. There was also one dude, I thought this was insane, right? Mm-hmm. And then we'll get to some real shit. But there was a guy there who was a Holocaust survivor. Mm-hmm. And there was also a guy there who liberated him from that internment camp.
Yeah.
I was
like... It wasn't Dachau, was it?
I think it might have been.
I can't remember, but yeah.
But
one of the big
that was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
It was so
that
cool.
is even able to happen. Yeah,
I know.
That dude liberated him from that concentration camp.
And the guy had his 81st birthday.
Yes.
He was the Holocaust survivor that also survived the Tree of Life in Pittsburgh, that shooting at the synagogue. Yes. And then it was his 81st birthday, and the entirety of Congress got up and sang him happy birthday.
Yes.
And President Trump kind of conducted for a little while. He was having a blast.
Yeah. I wondered when I was watching that, because Buzz Aldrin was also there.
Yeah.
And then there was also the first person freed under the new criminal justice thing. He was there.
Yeah, the First Step Act.
Yes. And then there was a couple other people that were there. People whose family was murdered, by an illegal immigrant. Mm-hmm. So I wonder, do you know whether or not that is standard? Like, have other presidents had as many guests like that as he has?
I believe so.
Because I don't know.
I don't know. There was a lot.
Yeah. Do you think he may have had more? I'm
not
trying to
he had a bunch
anything.
last year, or last time he did the State of the Union. He had a bunch, but I don't know. There was a lot this year.
Yeah.
And I know
maybe I'll go back and try and look at some Obama ones.
That would be interesting. Our State of the Union is pretty good.
He also said that we're going back to space.
We are going back to space.
We are going to go back to space. So that's
why Buzz Aldrin was there, to kind of
boldly and bravely into the next chapter, is what he said. That's a quote.
Boldly and bravely.
Which we got actually kind of fucked with.
Space Force is going to be all over that.
Yep. He said that there's going to be there's been 5.3 million new jobs since he's been in office. Yep. 5 million people who've gotten off of food stamps. Yeah. Yep.
As they would refer it, lifted off of. But
yes,
there's no way to tell 100% how that is in a success rate or not.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, that's how it's based off the statistics.
Said that America is now the number 1 producer of oil and natural gas in the world, and the number 1 net exporter of energy in the world. Do you know whether or not that's the case?
Don't think so.
Okay. Then
but,
I will.
I mean, I know he said they started exporting.
We'll try and fact check that.
Yeah. He started exporting. For the first time, we've been a net exporter of energy.
Yes.
I remember that.
He's saying the number 1 producer of oil and natural gas in the world.
And that might be, if he says oil and natural gas, Probably.
Maybe combined, but not just oil.
That would be
not
my
just
guess.
natural gas.
Yeah.
You'll see that.
Because I'm pretty sure Venezuela
They have the
was.
number one identified like stores, natural stores of oil.
Venezuela.
Yeah.
They got it. They got all the oil
Yeah. He also said that America is winning again each and every day.
every day. We are.
304,000 new jobs last month alone. He also said something about ridiculous partisan investigations, right? That's like the way that we were going to get
I had that
through
quote,
this,
I think.
and united at home to defeat our enemies abroad. What was the? Do you have the full quote from that?
Oh, I'm pretty sure. Trying to find it. So when he talked about the women, that was. I can't wait to talk
So
about that.
I have a note here that
God damn,
he was
exactly
fear mongering about the caravans,
Yeah.
and it's like a lot of this, which you can't call it anything else other than fear mongering.
I remember what it was.
Yes.
If we want legislation and peace, we can't have investigations and war, or
Yes.
war and investigations.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to talk about this more later, but that statement is an attempt to dismiss part of Congress's responsibility of oversight. Like that's part of their stated constitutional responsibility is oversight of the executive. That's what they're supposed to do.
Because that's the people's direct control over their government.
Regardless of how ridiculous the Republicans or any conservatives or anybody feels about the investigations being done in the House, that is their right and their responsibility to investigate things they feel need to be investigated as a responsibility of oversight over the executive.
And then in a perfect world, that would reflect the true attitudes of their constituents.
Yes. And,
In a perfect world.
And I'm not saying that it does, because
Yeah.
you're correct. In a perfect world, it would. But that's why I'm saying, regardless of really how anybody feels about it, it's their right to be doing this.
Yeah.
And
It's technically kind of their job to make
Yes,
sure that,
their right and responsibility.
because this is why the legislative branch of government is the most important.
Yes.
We couldn't have anything without the legislative branch, which is the Congress and the Senate.
Yeah.
And
So-
because they oversee every other branch of government other than essentially the judicial, we just have that confirmation process.
Yes.
But
And this particular State of the Union, at least up until this point, felt very much like fear-mongering, very much like propaganda, because that's all that he was talking about. We're going back to space, boldly and bravely into the next chapter. And, all these things. America's winning again each and every day. You know what I'm saying? United at home to defeat our enemies abroad. Really strong statements that, I think are really cool quotes,
Yeah.
But it's just and that may be very well what most of the State of the Union address is propaganda for that particular president. And I will report back on that after I've watched the ones from Obama. I'm going to go back and try and find some Bush ones too.
Yeah.
And so that
And
I
even-
can try and weigh everything across the spectrum. But he spoke really vaguely about illegal immigration. And I wrote here that he had not mentioned the wall yet 29 minutes into it.
Yeah.
Which I was pretty surprised about, but then 36
it's a hot
minutes
word,
in,
man.
36
Hot
minutes, 33 seconds, he talked about the wall.
yeah.
He said and I don't know. He kept talking about illegal immigration like the Democrats want open borders, right? And that's something that a lot of people say, because some people do, like Alexander Ocasio-Cortez.
It's one of those.
There are sectors of that want of the Democratic Party that do want open borders, just like there's sections of the Republican Party that want absolutely closed borders, nobody coming in at all, even legal immigration. They want nobody in, nobody out.
We have people on the fringes, but they don't make up the majority.
No.
But that is the general far left narrative. That's why he calls it, because we'll talk about it, like when we talk about the Rose Garden announcement today that happened on Friday. The way he gets his, I don't want to say his news, but the people he listens to on a kind of a daily basis. Literally 99% of them are all on Fox News.
Oh, yeah.
And so he hears their version of the leftist narrative, and that's just what he runs with.
Yeah.
And so he just assumes that. And that makes him like that. That's why he's kind of that fighter for the that far right.
It unfortunately makes him a propaganda machine because
that's a great way to put it.
Are a whole sects of people who are taking what he is saying at face value as the truth, right? Which you can't do, especially with this president. You could argue that with every president, you can't take everything they're saying at face value because you can't. But specifically with this president, you can take almost nothing he is saying at face value as the truth because it's almost always a lie. It's
twisted in some way.
I just put out an article just this morning. No, I didn't put one out. I shared an article this morning that regardless how you feel about CNN, it's an article that fact checks a bunch of the shit that he said in the Rose Garden ceremony, and it's just all lies. Like it's just all stuff that he makes up off the cuff to try and like puff himself up, you know? And there's people who take that and don't fact check it and just run with it. They just take that and just run
something that I want to talk about when we talk about that Rose Garden, because there was a question that was asked that was kind of like more or less we have stats from, your executive branch government through the DEA and Border Patrol and Homeland Security.
Yes.
This is all publicly available information.
Yeah.
Where we have the numbers. And they actually looked and I think it's smart because this whole facts don't care about your feelings thing.
Yes.
The facts don't lie. The statistics are what they are. And so if, illegal immigrant crime is going down and all these things are actually going down, through government statistics,
if illegal immigration is going down,
where are you getting your facts?
Yeah,
and
I have my sources.
I have my sources.
Yeah,
I have sources.
Which means that it's and the thing that's frustrating is like I said is that people will just say that reporter is lying because he's from NBC.
You're fake news. You're fake news, David Costa. You are fake news. You're fake news, CNN.
That is crazy. That we have a president that is doing that.
I know.
And that it's acceptable that he's doing that people are okay with it, and there are champions for it. They love it. They eat that shit up.
Yeah.
I know. How can you be okay with that? Like, how do you not expect more cordial behavior? Not even cordial, just more respectable behavior out of the president, the leader of your fucking country.
Like, you should be the most upstanding of citizens, at least in the public view, because you're the fucking president of the United States.
It's so bad.
The leader of the free world, if you will, and you're just a loudmouth stumbling through sentences. Anyways, but instead of talking bad about him, we could talk bad about him in the Rose Garden thing. But as far as the State of the Union, he, for the most part, stayed on teleprompter the entire time.
Yeah.
And this was definitely not a speech written by Stephen Miller. It was completely different than most of his speeches. So I don't know who wrote it, but it was very well written. It would have been great if a better orator had actually said it. Yeah. But overall, I think it was a rather good speech.
He
very
said,
long, but
another quote I have is, "Tolerance for illegal immigration is not compassionate. It is actually very cruel."
Very cruel.
He talked about drugs coming across the border in areas where there's no barrier, which is not factually correct. It's not accurate by really any account. And I have a note here, right? So last week, El Chapo got found guilty of like a billion different charges,
a
right?
Billion.
And
like $1.5 billion.
And during his trial, so El Chapo ran the largest drug cartel for heroin like in the world, right? Into America. And he said during the trial, or it was testified during the trial, not by him, but like one of his high up people, right? That the majority of their drugs came in through produce trucks, like through cans of produce, through points of entry.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. He's just lying. He's just saying shit that isn't true. And I don't understand it. Like, I don't get how that's okay. I'm truly, the logic thing with the babies. I'm truly confused as to why that's acceptable. Like, why people are just, for sure. Like, absolutely, man.
Definitely.
We need a fucking wall because they're just driving trucks through the desert up into the United States. That doesn't make any sense.
You will notice that as soon as because he always talks about points of entry, right? And then he talks about the drugs coming around, because you can go around the wall and you can go through. But then he immediately, as soon as he gets any pushback on it, he switches over to the women smuggling every single
you
time.
can't smuggle people through the border.
Yeah.
You can't bring people through the
and
border.
he did it during the Rose Garden thing too.
Yes.
And he does it every time he's pushed on that. And it is really, really interesting because it's like an automatic reverse. Well, I'm not arguing that. I'm arguing this.
Yeah.
It's like you're not that's a fake question.
Like, yeah.
As he told that reporter at the Rose Garden, that's a fake question.
Which is also not true. People get smuggled through points of entry all the fucking time.
Yep.
In trucks and like in vehicles and shit. That's a thing.
And this is why Don is for a wall.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's confusing to me. Like, it's confusing to me that people are willing to accept that he's lying and are not willing to challenge what he's saying.
Or if you're a supporter, first thing the administration did was establish this term called alternative facts.
Yes.
And now they have their alternative facts. Apparently they get them from other sources, but mostly through Department of Homeland Security. Apparently. Which apparently they're not the same ones that we hit. But again, good Trump time right now.
Yes.
State of the Union. It's so hard to just spiral off because this is within a period of 2 weeks. We went from good Trump to the complete polar opposite bad Trump.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
I was going to bring up when he started talking about jobs and how many jobs they had.
Yes.
Because you more or less have your notes in chronological order.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to let you just run through this because we'll get to all the things that I wrote down eventually.
So the next thing I have after that, women filled 58% of new jobs last year.
Yeah.
He also talked about, before I move on to that, he also talked about MS-13 again, which frustrates me every time because, again, I will tell you that MS-13 was founded in Los Angeles. MS-13 is an American gang. Like, that was formed here. No doubt there are people who come from other countries and join MS-13 when they get here, or are part of MS-13 when they're there and then come here and are also part of it. But it started in America. That's MS-13 started in America. So,
and it's worldwide now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally worldwide.
It's just frustrating.
It is.
Like, that's ignorant.
These were kind of the same old sorry talking points that he always hits.
Yes.
And I was really disappointed. If he could have cut all that out, the whole State of the Union would have been good.
Yeah.
But he focused so long on that portion of, his immigration propaganda. It just took away from everything good that he was doing for that first hour almost. And then it definitely built back up.
And he talked a lot about big pharma and plans he had for drug prices, right? Which I also thought was really interesting, that he's all about lowering prices for prescription drugs, but is fighting against drugs coming across the border and talks about the opioid crisis and all this shit, but he's trying to lower prices for prescription drugs, which don't, in all cases, benefit people who are taking them, right? Like, that's not always the best thing for people, is to be taking a prescription.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, it seems like there are other things that you could be focusing on when it comes to healthcare besides drugs.
I think his interest
that
in
would
that
behoove
industry,
people more.
Yeah, I think his interest in that industry is more along the lines of the fact that big pharma it's a thing.
Yeah.
The fact that this set of corporations essentially control an entire market.
He can actively fight against
it. Yeah. And so which I think is a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Because the reason we call it big pharma is because it is so monopolized, essentially.
Like big tobacco.
Yeah. And the government does have a massive control over the regulations. And that's kind of how these corporations justify their massive increase in prices. They make record profits like every single year, but that's just because they found a way to game the system.
Yeah.
And by kind of forcing them to actually have the right regulations, you allow them, you force them to cut down on their prices, and that actually will allow the free market competition to take place. That's a core fundamental belief for a more libertarian, free market minded person. And I think that's the way he looks at it as a businessman. I don't think it's for the good or bad of the nation. He just wants to create more business competition. That way, in his mind, I think essentially he's more, when it comes to the economy, he wants small business, he wants business competition, because that just means everybody gets richer.
And I'm not mad at business competition, but I am mad at it in an area where maybe it doesn't behoove people to be having more of that. That's what I'm saying. I think it would be better if people took their eyes a little off of prescription drugs and a little more off of preventative medicine to just be a little bit healthier instead of
that's true.
Taking a bunch of fucking pills afterwards.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know, whatever it is. By the time you're 80 years old, most people are taking 10 prescriptions a day or something. That's crazy. And that's something that's just off the top of my head. I don't remember what it is, but
I wouldn't say because I would say I agree with you, but I think it's two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
I don't want that industry to be monopolized, because I think it would probably add more incentive for drug companies to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And then at the other end, it's almost more of a social thing that we need to change and get away socially from the idea of I just need to take a pill. And
which I agree with.
Yeah.
But when you have somebody who is such a social leader as Donald Trump, people are going to be taking the same thing that in another year when he's really, in another 9 months when he's running for president again, look at your drug prices. Everybody go out, get your prescriptions because they're cheap as fuck now. Everything's cheap as fuck because I made it cheap as fuck. Everything's super cheap. Prescriptions. So cheap, everyone get your prescriptions because they're all super cheap. You know what I'm saying? When people are doing that, I heard a woman at the store, because I don't think that it's right, that people can't afford medicine that they need. Yeah. Because there's a woman at the store.
That is a problem. Especially with things like cancer medications and stuff like that.
There was a woman.
That's the real problem. But it's also, it's a massive risk, because then you have more people that can do bad things with that.
And
I think he would lean more that way.
And that's where you get pills is from prescriptions.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how...
Yeah, when I say pills, that's...
I mean pills that people are addicted to. They come through prescriptions that people get and then they sell. And that doesn't come across the border, you know what I'm saying? That shit happens too. But there's a lot of people who their prescriptions come from stealing them from people, or from stealing people selling pads, or all kinds of shit. Yeah. So
there's a lot of black market, aftermarket, especially opioids, the Vicodins and
that's what I'm saying,
and stuff like that.
The shit that he is actively trying to fight against are the things that he
wants to make the cost lower.
That he is, not quite so actively fighting for, and that's backwards.
I know this is getting kind of sidetracked because we're focused on the merits of prescriptions, but wouldn't the incentive be that if more people were producing them, if prices were lower, there wouldn't be as much of a profit incentive to push those, because things would just be cheaper?
Maybe. But the thing with prescription companies is also not what they're getting at one time. It's the sustained money that they're getting, So even if they don't cost as much at one time, over 20 years, they're still making their nut, because people
especially
are still...
if they're hardcore addictive.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, even if it's not that, even if even if you're just taking one pill, it has a side effect that you can't stand. So you take a pill for heartburn or whatever, and then it keeps you up, and so then you have to take another pill for your insomnia, and then your insomnia pill makes you fucking anxious, so you have to take another pill for your anxiety, and then your anxiety pill is fucking keeping you awake, so you have to take a stronger pill to go to sleep. So you're taking Valium now.
And I think it's even more than the addictive side of it. I think that's a real life problem.
That's a thing that happens all the time,
with statin drugs, and
that's how you end up taking 10 pills like that when you're 80 years old. Is
because you're taking pills to fight the symptoms from your other fucking pills.
Exactly. So even if they don't cost as much, then because the last time that I had some type of thought I had a kidney stone 2 years ago, right? And I went and got a bottle. It was when you worked at Bennick too, and I don't remember. I was just trying to figure out what was wrong with my stomach. It was when I was battling when I was missing all that time of work, so I thought I had a kidney stone. So they gave me a bottle of Percocet. It was $9 for 30 Percocet.
Oh boy!
What the fuck?
That sounds like a gateway drug.
So that doesn't make any fucking sense to me, right? And at the end of speaking as somebody who has a history with pills, right? It was just towards the end of that. 30 days, those 30 pills or whatever the fuck, and I've got 10 left, and I'm okay, well, I'm going to take 2 this day, 2 this day, 2 this day, so on this day I'm going to run out of pills. In that short amount of time, I'm thinking about, okay, how many more days am I going to be able to be high like this on pills?
Yeah.
Which is not the motive for that. Is because I was like in a lot of pain trying to figure out what was wrong with my stomach. But that's because I already had a history of that, and I also would argue a genetic predisposition to addiction. That like I was already that quickly in a place where I'm like, okay, so this many days, like the X amount of days, how many days I have.
Yeah.
Like where I'm already in that mode of thinking. And that's not healthy, that's not
No.
healthy. And so that's something that concerns me.
Yeah. The sick thing was when the FDA and stuff were doing the trials and all that stuff. And like, that was one thing they pushed was the fact that, these Oxycontin, they weren't addictive.
That's what
and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, actually, oops.
Actually, we lied.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
I think it was the Purdue family that they're kind of like the main monopoly of that. Yeah. They were the one that got hit for that real bad.
He also said that they were going to make the needed commitment to end the HIV crisis in the next 10 years, which I think is not a bad thing. I think it's a great thing. But he also thought it was interesting that there was no price tag on that. So we are going to make the needed commitment to end HIV, which you could argue means that he is willing to commit whatever he has to eradicate HIV. You could also argue that he is not committed to any particular amount of money being spent on that particular thing. At the end of his presidency, whether that's 1 year from now or 5 years from now, no one can really say, well, you didn't spend enough money on HIV because you said this.
Yeah.
Okay. They can say that if HIV is not eradicated, if it's still like is really prominent, they can say that, But they can't come after him for the amount of money because he's not committed to $20 million, $80 million, anything like that. $10 million, nothing, just.
I just I don't understand why he would have brought that up then at that point. Because it's like, why would you bring up something that nobody's talking about? I mean, if this is true and like, okay, maybe we... he said, we're like almost there. We've made so many strides. We're really close.
There's people who I believe that there are people who have been found to not have the HIV or AIDS virus in their body anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So,
you hear about Dennis Rodman and like all these people that just kind of seem to have found a way to... Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
What did I say?
No, you said Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman don't have AIDS?
I don't think so.
I'm just saying Dennis Rodman might have some AIDS. Dennis Rodman, he's crazy. But they don't have AIDS in North Korea, do they? He goes over there all the time.
They don't have AIDS in North Korea. Yeah, Magic Johnson.
Mm-hmm. But he's basically like AIDS-free now, right?
Yes.
So South Park did that episode where they you just have
money.
To take $100,000 something, liquefy it and pump it into your veins.
And that's it. That's how you get rid of AIDS.
Yeah, that sounds legitimate.
Yeah. So I thought that was and I'm not trying to say
it's interesting
because I elaborated more on that, but that's more of my point, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm not trying to say that is what he's doing. But I thought it was interesting because I know that right now he's a president, so he's a politician. So I know that things are being written and said in a particular way for a particular reason, So that's why I'm identifying,
especially when they're on the teleprompter.
Yes, so that's why I'm highlighting that because, like I said, it could very well be that he is very passionate about this, and that's something he intends to do. Is before he leaves office, he is going to do everything he can to make sure that HIV and AIDS is done with.
I think
but it also could mean.
I think he's taken up some meetings with people kind of like on the Kim Kardashian level about AIDS and HIV.
And that shit's so irritating.
Right?
That lady was also there, the woman that Kim Kardashian championed for. That woman was also there, which I think is great, but fuck the Kardashians.
Straight up,
I can't. We've talked about not a fan before, and I can't with them. He also said they were going to commit $500 million over 10 years to fight childhood cancer. Mm-hmm. There's going to work towards paid family leave, paid family medical leave, which So I see both sides of it, right?
Of course you do.
Especially now that not now, but especially because I work for a small business, right? I know that I make slightly less money now because the state or the federal government, whatever, it's forced that my company helps put towards paid family medical leave for me in case I need to take it for whatever reason, right? So I know that part of my check also goes towards that now. But the thing that I think is interesting is that that's a great idea because people got to take care of like their kids or, you know, their grandkids or their parents or whatever. But I also know that it's costing my bosses money because they have to pay everybody for that now.
Yeah.
They have to put money into that.
When they're just going to lose money.
Yes. And the idea of this is more towards the argument that people would make, I assume, would be more towards big companies that fuck people, Walmart, shit like that fuck people over, you know? But which is all well and good because you should be treated better if you work for a corporation that treats you like shit.
Yeah.
My small company treats me awesome and they're getting fucked over on the back end. You know what I'm saying? They had to start doing sick time, you know, and that's, which is great because I love that shit. The benefits are great, you know, but I'm not the one that's paying 45 people. You know, I'm not the one that has all these. I'm not the one that owns the business.
Yeah.
I just know that I'm getting sick time, that I'm getting paid family medical leave if I need it. You know, which is cool for me because I'm the employee. But what about the person who owns a small business that is operating on whatever type of margin they're operating on?
Yeah.
You know,
I wonder if we could find like a different system for that could work for small businesses, like almost like a health savings plan type of deal, but
the older I get,
like a leave savings plan.
Yeah.
So you're like, hey, I'm gonna stash this much money away, and essentially that money equals my hourly wage, and so you're buying your own time off. But you know, it's much better just to be like, well, I fucking work for you. Why don't you take care of me?
And that's how some companies did it. Like I know the first company I worked for, the call center, that's how you got paid time off. You didn't actually get paid time off. They just kept, you know, you put money away and then you had X amount of money in this thing
that you got to tap.
Yep. You can request a week off and say, hey, I got the money to do it. But you also had to have the time off accrued to be able to request the time off.
Yeah.
But they didn't give paid time off, but they kept some of your money, you know.
But you still have to earn your time off hours?
Yes.
Yeah, see that wouldn't be a thing. To me, it's like
that's how corporations, these companies like that would get around that, you know.
That's garbage.
You have to earn your paid time off. You have to earn your time off. It's not paid, but we're going to take part of your check every week and we'll put it away. And when I didn't take any paid time off because I had not been there long enough, I didn't have time off accrued to do that because I hated that job. So I took time off every time I had it.
Hell yeah.
They just tack it on your last check. You just get, you know, which is cool because then I got like kind of a fat last check. But,
yeah, I mean, if you're going to get fucked, it might as well work out for you a little bit.
But it was really stupid while you're working there that you're like, man, now I got enough money in here to take a couple days off, but I don't. I got fucking 4 hours off like that I could actually take, which is stupid.
Yeah.
So
that is ridiculous.
Yeah, that sucked. I'm sure there is a better way to do that, but
right now that's the way we do it. Is we do it through regulation and tax.
Yeah,
and
which is not the coolest thing ever.
No,
you know, like I said, I love the idea of it, but just the older I get and the more time I spend in a small business, it makes me think more that way. That like, well, how, like, you know,
yeah.
On a larger scale, this is great, but what about like on a smaller scale?
You know what they say,
this
Don?
Kind of sucks.
If you're young and you don't have, you know, if you're young and you don't support stuff like that, you don't have a heart.
Yeah.
But if you're old, it means you're a conservative.
Yeah.
Then that means that you don't, and you support that kind of thing as an adult and stuff like that, who pays taxes and knows about small business. Then you don't have a brain.
I heard someone say once, and I don't remember who it is, so I'm not going to take any credit for it or anything, but like, you'll never meet a young Republican or a rich Democrat. Is like what they
something like that.
Yeah, it's some fucking,
which is like, weird because in 2019 we have a lot of rich Democrats.
Yeah,
but they're all techies.
Yeah,
which is weird.
Yeah,
it's like this new subculture just popped up.
Right.
It's not like the traditional greedy conservative Rush Limbaugh listening to CEO of Walmart. It's now fucking Jeff Bezos who owns the Washington Post.
And that statement really just means that like when you're younger, you're more idealistic generally, and you know, you have more holy ideas and stuff. And then when you get older, you have some more money saved, and you don't want people taking your money.
A little bit more realistic about how the world works.
But I always thought that was really funny. He talked about the abortion laws that we talked about last week or last episode from Virginia, which I thought was really interesting that Governor Ralph Northam, who was on that radio show, now he also like is in the blackface thing.
Yeah.
Like that.
He got double, man.
Yeah, double fucked.
He double dipped in the shit pool.
And then so we're going to talk about this for a minute, right? Because this is a great conversation. He said, this is a quote, "Let us reaffirm a fundamental truth that all children, born and unborn, are made in the holy image of God."
Yeah.
Right? On that, any legislation you put forward dealing with abortion should be killed on the floor. Not even be brought to the floor, right? Fuck you. God has nothing to do with this fucking government. Has nothing to do with the laws here.
Nope.
Nothing to do. Separation of church and state, dog. Fuck you.
You can thank you can thank President Ronald Reagan for that, for creating the evangelical voting base.
Yeah, no,
that's what that's for.
And that any bill they put up dealing with abortion should be killed simply for that. Simply for him having said that.
He could still get something passed. It would just have to come via Congress and not.
No, fuck that.
No, fuck that.
No, that's what I'm saying. Nothing that he puts up. There's nothing that he puts up.
Yeah, he could sign a bill if it came to his desk if he had Congress. Nothing to do with it.
But fuck that. The fact? No, man.
No, man.
Made in the holy image of God. Like that has nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
And that's not saying that if you believe in that there's anything wrong with it. But it is written into our Constitution that there is a separation of church and state. Those two things should have nothing to do with each other.
But we still pray before congressional meetings and all this. It's very strange.
Yes.
And not to say that it's religion is bad and it doesn't, it doesn't belong in that one sole institution of government.
Yeah,
does not belong there.
Not in the laws, man.
And it didn't used to be there when we founded the country.
Yeah, you can't base
some
laws
of the language
off of
is there, but that's why we had church and state put down.
Bad.
Yeah, bad.
So I had a real problem with that.
Yeah.
I had a huge problem with the fact that he even said that at all.
So are we getting close to the women jobs and watching all the senators congratulate them?
I skipped right over that, but we'll
because
talk
I
about that
really
right
wanted
now.
to talk about that
because he did. Yeah, he talked about.
It was a win. It was a hard win for him during that speech.
Yeah, the women had filled 58% of the new jobs last year, and that there is more women in Congress than ever before, even though there is less women in the Republican Party than ever before.
Yeah.
As elected officials, which is really interesting. He also did not give Nancy Pelosi an opportunity to introduce him, which is super weird, like very strange.
That's a power move.
Yes, and then she fucking clapped at him and
that was
definitely
great.
Making some faces behind him during the.
That was meme gold.
Yeah, people were all over
so
that.
Good.
So what do you have about what he said about the women?
Well, the big thing to me was the big picture aspect of all this. This is the insider baseball fan talking of how the culture war playing out in politics is going, and essentially watching this group of new Democratic, women in the audience all wearing their suffrage white.
Yeah.
And as a sign of, how women are oppressed or something, the intersectional fight that they're fighting. And that they sat there and, did their best not to clap or applaud or anything unless Mama Pelosi approved. And she kind of give a little hand signal like that. Or if they were being bad, she would kind of, no, just raise your, no, don't do that. Don't boo. We're better than that. But then all of a sudden, as soon as Trump played into their hands and said, okay, we have more women in Congress than ever before, they got up and they started partying, and, A.O.C. was all sorts of jazz and high-fiving people when 5 minutes before that, they were just staring daggers at him.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was kind of petty in a way. And I know it's all just this big game and it doesn't actually mean that much when you look at it. What don't they applaud for? What do they applaud for?
Right.
That's something I always watch just to
also
see
the
how
people,
because that's the political game playing out. That's the, on the social level.
Right. Oh, well, also the people who show up and don't show up.
Yes.
Because there's some people who just don't go altogether as a protest for, 2 years ago, Vice did a piece on representatives who did not go to the State of the Union, and they watched it with one of the senators or representatives that didn't go. And so it's like so they sat there and talked shit about President Trump the whole time through the State of the Union, and
that seems like a really fun thing to do for people that are into it.
Yeah, that's definitely the gamey part of the State of the Union. Is the way that people act when they're like, even what they're wearing. Because there's I don't know her name, but the first like Native American woman who was elected into representative, or I believe in. So she's wearing like what the fuck am I trying to say?
Yeah, a special necklace.
Just like a traditional outfit, and then she's also like sitting on like a blanket, and it's what I'm saying. Like people are very to try and take jabs at the president because they're also trying to push the narrative that he is a racist, right? Which I would not say that he is a racist. No. Right?
No.
He has said
he's just an idiot.
Man. And he's got a fuck. That's a hard thing to even talk about. He's a fucking idiot. And he says stupid shit.
Yeah. Don't assign to malice what can be easily attributed to ignorance or stupidity in this case.
He is afraid, for lack of a better term, to go against the people that make up part of his base.
Yeah.
Because you certainly can't argue that the entirety of his base is radical right. But a certain portion, be it large or small, of his base is made up of radical right activists who are the people that we saw at Charlottesville, the people that we have seen at all these places that are openly violent, the people who, Joey Gibson, these motherfuckers, the people who...
Joey Gibson, he's not that far right.
The Rude Boys, the Proud Boys.
The Proud Boys.
You know what I'm saying? All
who
these
Gavin
people
McGinnis is no longer affiliated with. He officially renounced the Proud Boys.
Oh, he's still a douche.
But he's kind of a douche.
All of these people
he's kind of funny though.
Are part of President Trump's base, even if they would not say that, or he would not say that, because he never would, and he is not willing to denounce a section of people who will openly support the ideals that he will put on the back burner, but will support. You know what I'm saying? Like, not openly, but will also not denounce. So it's
I think that is changing a little bit, and we'll get into that later because that's also part of the Rose Garden.
There's no way he gets back in office if he does not, in some way, begin to like separate himself from that.
Yeah, I don't know.
So no way he's going to have a harder time than last time getting in.
Definitely.
If he does not separate himself.
His, I think, return to office is solely based off of who he's going to face on the Democratic side. What kind of flaming dumpster fire are they going to put forth? Or if they went with somebody moderately left and not one of the activist superstars, he's in trouble.
Thinking about 2020 makes me nervous.
It does.
It like legitimately makes me like, it makes like my stomach drop, and I'm like, God.
I wish the party would revolt from him and nominate a bunch of hard, insider Republican good guys.
Someone would primary him. Yeah, that someone would fucking primary him, because if you're a good, like, regular person, you can do it.
But he's on such thin ice. They can't afford to take that gamble and pull votes away from him, because if somebody else if somebody else has enough, it's the same problem like the Democrats have with Schultz.
I was just
Starbucks
thinking
CEO.
that.
It's the same thing. It's that whole, the party knows who they want, and this is the safest bet is for them to back Trump in the election.
Yeah,
but it's not a good idea. But it's the best shit sandwich they have to choose from. Now they're in our shoes.
Turd sandwich or a giant douche.
Exactly. But yeah, I think I want to get into more of that after when we do the Rose Garden stuff.
And so then he started to talk about the military. Said last year they spent $700 billion on the military, and this year it's going to be $716 billion on the military.
So much money, you don't know what to do with it.
Yep. Fuck.
Yeah.
My God.
Later.
He said there's been $100 billion increase in defense from the NATO partners.
Yeah.
I don't know
that's
whether
his
or
whole,
not that's...
them paying their fair share argument that he's been campaigning on.
And he said that they got out of the INF so that America could increase the amount of weapons that we have.
More or less. Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah. And yeah, but the context,
that is what he said.
Yeah, the context to that is that Russia isn't playing by that rules anyways.
Yes.
So we need to start getting into the arms race because it's already going.
Yes, which I would not dispute that Russia is arming up because they are. Whether or not I agree that we need to get into the arms race because it's already going, I don't know I necessarily agree with that.
At this point, do we really need to participate? Because it's not cannons and which cannon is better and all this stuff now. There's all this technology, and we kind of swamp everybody already.
Are you sure? Because he said that his plan is to outspend and out-innovate by far.
If we need to.
That is not what he said.
Damn it. Yeah, because we will outspend and out-develop. Is that what it was?
Outspend and out-innovate.
Yeah, we totally will. Force innovation.
By far.
Another Manhattan Project 2.0.
Said that February 27th and 28th, there's going to be a meeting with Kim Jong-un.
Yep, in Vietnam, I believe.
And then he also said America will never be a socialist country.
That was my favorite thing ever. Yeah. Because, and then, oh man, the memes that went after that, because as soon as he said that, cameras went right to Bernie Sanders. And somebody added the, I've never seen that show, but something with enthusiasm or...
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Larry
that
David.
Music played on there. Cause it's just him like all scrunched up.
Yeah, this
like the troll.
He was like,
Bernie Sanders.
That's Bernie Sanders. So that's all that I have notes wise.
Yeah, that was pretty much
do you
it.
have anything else
Overall, it was a good, there was a lot of, I think there was 4 or 5 chants of USA. USA.
It was like a frat house, man.
It was weird.
Bad.
The whole thing felt weird.
It reminded me of when they overturned the individual mandate for the ACA, and they sang in the house, na 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 na. Yeah. Na 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 na. Do you remember that? Do you remember when that happened? That's what that reminded me.
I tried to block that out of my mind. And
that's what that reminded me of, and it was bad.
It was very strange. This whole thing, like, it was nice because there was some parts where even both sides got up and were like USA, and I was like, that's
at one point.
And I was like, you know what? It's not bad, man.
Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, who we will hear henceforward referred to as A.O.C. because fuck all them names.
Exactly, man. I'm sorry.
That's what we're, in all respect, that's just too many names to say. So
we may be podcasters, but we're not technically professional podcasters.
Yeah. So do you want to talk next about the joint resolution and the declare of the national emergency?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is a nice good Trump, bad Trump.
Yes.
So we tried our best to talk up how awesome the State of the Union was in comparison to, I think, the last one and stuff like that. And just overall, it was inspiring.
So on Thursday, there's a meeting happening. President Trump, Mitch McConnell, a couple other people are there. Mm-hmm. Democratic Party, Republican Party. They're trying to decide what they can do to, keep the government from shutting down. It's at that moment that President Trump is like, "Word, I'll sign what you have, but also I'm going to declare a national emergency so I can get my wall going."
Boom.
So Mitch McConnell, so that he can get it cemented before President Trump changes his fucking mind again, he runs over to the Senate. He interrupts Chuck Grassley, who's trying to talk about whatever the fuck Chuck Grassley's trying to talk about, pisses him off, says, "All right, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce joint measure, blah, 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 blah. And we're going to vote on that, and we're going to keep the government open. Also, later today, President Trump is going to declare a national emergency." Drops the fucking mic, walks away. Boom. And people were like, "Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, what the fuck?"
Yeah.
Because first of all, I
have been waiting for this to happen. I knew it was coming.
Unorthodox for the Senate Majority Leader to be announcing the president is going to declare a national emergency instead of the president. Or before the president, right?
Right.
Super fucking weird. Really, really strange.
And that's just because of the timing.
Yes.
Because they couldn't allow, because it was late in the day. The deadline, I think, was like 9 p.m. or something like that. And it didn't actually vote, I think, until 8:55 or so. It was like last minute.
And the president is declaring a national emergency because the funding bill is not giving him enough money, not the money that he wants for the wall.
Exactly.
Right? Because they're giving him, what, 1.7, 1 point something
Yeah,
billion dollars.
1.57, 1.75.
For $1.75 billion for the wall and for
like repairs.
For repairs to build some new wall, but not all of it. But that's also not what he's like asking for.
Yeah.
So the spending measure passed 83-16 in the Senate and 300 to 128 in the House. McConnell announced the spending bill while also saying the president would enact a national emergency to help build the wall. President said it funds the government through September. And the money for 55 miles of steel fence is what it says.
And that's in the funding bill. And then that's why he turned around and said, okay, well, we figured it out. It's going to happen now. We're going to declare national emergency, and we're going to get our funding there.
It also prohibits construction in some areas. I don't know exactly where, but it also prohibits funds from being used to stop congressmen and lawmakers from inspecting detention centers, because when there was all that shit going on with ICE and the children and people separating, there was some representatives being turned away from detention centers that were being told they could not go there. So there is actual verbiage in the bill that says that this money cannot be used, which just essentially says that no employees in any of those centers can tell congressmen they can't be there because their paycheck would be coming from this funding. So that's what it's verbiage in there.
That's, I think, a good thing. They had a problem with that. While that was all going on.
And I don't remember exactly who, but there were several senators and representatives who tried to go to different detention centers and were told they could not go in there.
Which was weird because some were able to go to certain ones.
Yes.
But it was like, why then?
Others.
Yeah, what's going on here? This is ridiculous.
Especially if everything is on the up and up, because people would come out and be like, everything's fine here, but you're not allowed to come in. Like,
I wonder if it has something to do if they classified certain facilities at a certain level.
I don't know.
We
know that there were some places that were not as well equipped as others. And that probably was the case, that they knew that the
tell them this place is a classified facility. They can't be here. Get them out of here.
There's also $77 million to help fight opioid crisis, $4 billion for wildland fire programs.
Yep.
$12.6 billion for the FEMA Disaster Relief Fund, which was, drained this year with hurricanes and with wildfires that happened.
That campfire literally burned down an entire town.
It also ends the pay freeze for civilian federal workers and increases their pay 1.9%. And then also the Pence and the cabinet and other appointed personnel will get a raise of about $10,000 on average, which is interesting because when the shutdown happened, the president was like, "Oh no, I think we're going to do something about that. We'll make sure that doesn't really go down." But somehow that still gets into the funding bill. That's really weird. I don't know.
It's like, well, we didn't do it while the government was partially closed.
Yeah.
But now that we're back open, we didn't tell you we were just waiting until we got open. But
yep. So that's all that I really have as far as the spending bill. Do you have anything past that for numbers wise?
No.
Okay. And so do you want to talk about, in general, like kind of what it means for him to be declaring a national emergency, like the implications and stuff, or do you want to talk about the finer points of it first, like the Rose Garden thing, and then talk about it in general afterwards?
I think let's talk Rose Garden first.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll start finite and go big picture.
Yep. So
we'll work our way out.
So he opened up by disputing the fact that drugs come mostly through ports of entry. Again.
Yes.
Right? Which is, again, not true. And I have some notes here that we can actually...
Which he was called out on during the Q&A.
Yeah. So the only drug that comes through higher rates not through ports of entry is pot. That's the only drug that comes through in higher amounts through open parts of the border than through ports of entry, right?
It's much more manageable, I can imagine. Yeah. It's lightweight anyways.
As per the DEA, right, 90% of the heroin at the border is found at points of entry.
Yeah.
That's where it comes through as point of entry, not through any of these open places where there isn't a wall that the president keeps talking about. Factually incorrect. As per the federal government, the people whose job it is, like I said, the DEA, people whose job it is to get those drugs, to take them. Yeah. It's them that's telling you that. That is not true.
It is. They have the actual statistics right there.
And the one that the president keeps quoting, heroin. That's the one that his big deal is heroin. Black tar heroin comes from Mexico. Mexico, Colombia, Mexico, South America, Mexico.
Because it's tied to the opioid crisis.
90% of it is coming through points of entry.
Yep.
What the fuck? Like, that's not even the case.
Like, it's not even like a close race.
No. And this and many more facts are found in that CNN article that I put out earlier.
And you can actually, you can get them through government sources, through their open source information.
Yes.
You probably have to go through the actual Freedom of Information Act or something, maybe, but they're out there.
Yep. He said you can't take big loads of drugs or human traffic through ports of entry.
Yeah, just
that's a quote, which is not true, obviously, as per what I just said.
Yeah.
Said it's all a big lie. He kept saying that. Like, he said that over and over and over. It's all a big lie. They're saying this. It's all a big lie. Which I think
news.
It's fucking dangerous, man. That is dangerous for the president to be saying shit like that.
Yeah. How would I put this?
It's concerning.
His entire speech was incredibly hostile and at times kind of tyrannical and dictatorial when he talked on a couple subjects, because there was a lot of talk about he opened his speech actually with talk about the Chinese trade deal that they're putting together, and that we have people over there right now. They're coming back this weekend, and talks are going good. He said whatever that means. They're over there doing the work, but talks are going good. And they're going to come back, and then we're going to, President Xi is supposed to be coming back soon to come visit and kind of finalize the trade deal. Yeah, President Xi Jinping, also known as Winnie the Pooh. I'm good. Yeah, have you ever seen that, followed that political thing? It's like a bunch of memes out there with him as Winnie the Pooh, which is why Winnie the Pooh is now banned in China.
Yeah, that's a thing in China, that people in China compared him to Winnie the Pooh, and now you can't Google images. You can't China Google images of Winnie the Pooh. Whatever China Google is, I don't know.
Yeah, because it's a specialty Google, because they're so... It's like there's no Twitter in China. They don't have a thing with the Chinese government.
So... I don't know. I just think that's dangerous, and I'm sure I've said that 1,000 times, that like, this is dangerous. This rhetoric is dangerous. And I don't want to sound like some fucking progressive pundit from MSNBC, but that's dangerous to have a president who is actively telling you that facts are a lie.
Yeah.
Is really dangerous, because like I said, there are those people who are just taking him at face value, and he's lying.
Yeah. And blatantly.
And they will spout those lies back out to other people. Like, they will use those as facts in a debate with somebody else out in public.
Yeah.
I talked about that on my blog post this week, that not even the blog post, just that post on Facebook, that I was so frustrated. That I can hear people actively saying things that I know are not true.
Yeah.
When we are busting our fucking dicks, to excuse my language, especially right now, but when we're fucking busting our dicks to provide factual, unbiased information that will solve the argument that you're having right now.
And you're actively fighting against us.
And you would rather go home and, instead of spend 3 hours or 20 minutes a day or 30 minutes a day or an hour a day listening to this podcast, or even other podcasts or other types of news, YouTube videos, something, you would rather watch fucking Kardashians or the fucking stupid Masked Singer show that I told you about that one time that I was really good at. Like, stupid shit like that, you would rather, which I think that there is all kinds of merit in watching things that only have entertainment value, But there's also merit in spending some time at home educating yourself when you are talking about something regularly but don't know the facts. Like, you're complaining about it to your friends, but don't want to actually learn anything factual about it. You'll just say, I can't believe that something like this could happen. How could that even happen?
How could this even be? But
not try and figure it out, You're like, why
just
I don't have time for that. Like,
you just instantly believe what you're told.
And it's crazy, because as I was reading through some of these articles, like the Fox ones, I'm like, well, that's not true. Like, that's Like, that's not true. And I know that, but people are reading this and they're just running with it. And that's
it drives me nuts.
Scary. Those opinion articles, those op-ed articles from the New York Times and from CNN and from Fox News that people are reading and taking as fact, but they're not. They're op-eds. Like,
they're opinions.
And they don't know the difference between the two.
Just because you read it doesn't mean it's real.
Fucked up.
That's somebody's opinion they're throwing out there. It's really bad, man. And so this whole thing is dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, because essentially how we kind of got on this was the bill that was passed, the funding bill, right? And now he's doing the national emergency.
Because he didn't get enough money.
Yeah. And so this whole thing was two different things. It was China, it was trade with China, and then it was all just the same, like, border talking points and the same things that we pointed out that were completely inaccurate.
Yeah.
The same things that were inaccurate in the State of the Union. It's those same tired talking points.
Yes, he lied about the same stuff on Tuesday as he did on Friday.
Yes.
Except
this time he did it freehand.
Yes, which made it even worse, right? And that's why it's bad.
It's really bad.
You should watch it, but you should watch it with the understanding that a lot of it is a lie. Like, that a lot of it's not true.
Just
you should
factually,
watch it.
Yeah.
You should watch it the same way you watch the Kardashians or you watch The Masked Singer. Watch it purely for entertainment value, because there is almost no educational value in what he said.
Yeah.
But it's not even entertaining. It's shocking. It's shocking. If you don't, I'm sorry to spend so much time trying to classify it, but if you are not super politically savvy, then it's entertaining. But if you spend a lot of time paying attention to politics and you're, like, really into what's going on, it is fucking scary. It is fucking scary because it's so full of lies.
Yeah.
It's all full of lies. It's crazy. So he said, one of these other quotes, if we had a wall, we wouldn't need military at the border.
No.
Motherfucker, you sent them there.
Exactly.
You put them there.
I didn't want to do that, but I just had to do that.
As it was brought up in the Q&A, with the lowest border crossing in, like, several years.
Yeah.
You sent the military there and are now using that as justification for a wall that you ran on as a platform for your presidency. Are you fucking kidding me?
This is a campaign promise fulfillment.
It's not, but it is. And that's what he said. It's not just for a campaign promise. I mean, I did campaign on it, but it's not just for a campaign promise. No. That's not why I'm doing it. And I have written down here, like, 3 different times after a bunch of these things that he would talk about. So I'm signing the national emergency, right? Mm-hmm. And then another quote right after that. Normally people who don't care, they must not have been very exciting.
Yeah.
Like this, normally people don't care about the national emergencies that people sign, so they must have not been that exciting. It must have not been that big of a deal.
Yeah, he talked mad shit.
Then he starts saying it's an invasion of drugs and immigrants, right? Yeah. So he starts to talk about the national emergency, like, this is what I'm doing, and then gets off somehow on some type of tangent, and then he's talking about an invasion of drugs and immigrants. There's at least 70,000 people died from drugs this year, and then he starts talking about trade with China because like you said, I took all my notes in chronological order, just as I'm watching it, right? So right after he's talking about at least 70,000 people died from drugs last year, he said that Xi Jinping told him that they didn't have a drug problem in China because they killed drug dealers. Because drug dealers get the death penalty. And he said, a quote from the president, he said, yeah, I know how we can end the drug problem.
Yeah. Like, that's what I was talking about when I said it got a little tyranny.
Yes. So then he's talking about, and I shit you not, right? This is why you need to watch it. Anybody listening to this, you have to watch it if you haven't, because then he starts to talk about. All right, shit happens,
and we're back in.
Anybody who hasn't watched it, you have to watch it, right? Because he starts talking about, well, maybe China has it figured out, because China doesn't have a drug problem, and it's because they're killing their drug dealers.
Yeah,
because their drug dealers get the death penalty, and China doesn't have this problem. Except fentanyl comes from China. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to talk to China about putting that on their banned substance list so people can't have fentanyl anymore.
And it's really funny when you think about his, his kind of almost embrace of the death penalty towards drug dealers.
Yeah.
When you think a week ago or whatever at the State of the Union, he had a lady there that was serving essentially a life sentence for a non-violent drug dealing offense. She would not be alive today. She would have already been killed. But you just said we also have this, the First Step Act, and we're going to rehabilitate people. But I don't know, maybe we'll kill drug dealers too.
This is why you don't let this president talk off the cuff. Like you you make him run off of a script. And he kept looking down so he has notes there, but he's just saying whatever the fuck he wants. He's just keeps going, know? And so then he said, he asked China to pretty much ban fentanyl. Then he said, this is a great thing to do because there's an invasion of drugs, an invasion of gangs, and an invasion of people. That is an exact quote. And
that's how he tied China to the fucking border crisis.
Yes. And then he said, then he starts talking about, I'm going to sign a national emergency because I want to stop drugs and I want to stop gangs. More people are trying to get into the country, probably now more than ever, is what he said, which is the exact opposite of the truth because, again, we'll talk about the Q&A, but he gets asked, numbers get thrown out. I don't have the numbers. Hope maybe you do. No. That's all right, but this is why you should watch the video.
The reason why I didn't grab it is because I look at them. A lot of these articles that we read these days, it's really nice. They have hyperlinks usually that you can go directly to the governmental page to read whatever statistics or whatever legislation. It's really easy to find, and once you realize that everybody's got it and that's what they're talking about, to me that's enough. That's a lot of research, and I dig far enough, and I think, this is true. I know this is going on. It's, we've deep dived a couple of them before. They're out there, man.
The numbers are lower than ever.
Yeah.
Right? So he said, we're doing it because we want to have a safe country. And then he started talking about the money that's in the appropriations bill, right? And this is why he's doing the national emergency. So they gave me a bunch of money. I don't know what to do with all the money they gave me.
I don't know.
But they didn't give me enough on the wall. And he said at one point they skimped me on the wall. They skimped on the wall.
They just skimped on the wall.
Yeah, he kept saying, they gave me so much money, I don't know what to do with all the money. And then
I got everything in my shopping trip 90% off, but I had to pay full price for this last one. That's not enough.
And then somehow he gets from that to, because he starts talking about the military. So he starts boasting about handing down surplus military equipment to the police, right?
Yeah.
Which a lot of people tie directly to police brutality, having equipment that they shouldn't have, and people dying when they don't need to die.
Yeah.
That book that I read, I don't know what it's called, but I talked about it 30 episodes ago about police brutality. That's like, that guy talked about a bunch of studies that tied increases in police brutality to surplus military equipment and old military equipment being given to police stations. And that's how you get, instead of them having to call SWAT, they have their own armored trucks. They have their own body armor, their own automatic weapons there to use. They don't need to call experts. They can just strap up and go themselves.
Yeah.
That's not what your county sheriff is supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's not what they're trained to do. That's why a SWAT team exists.
Because the military, it's important to understand, even though this is, it's rudimentary, it's old school gear. It's usually, it's the latest, or, it's the last year's model type of stuff. We've made an upgrade. But the military trains on how to use those things consistently all the time.
Yeah.
And so they know how to do it because they continually, always, infinitely and forever, always train on their equipment so that they could be the best with it ever. That's why, if you're in the military, drills are a thing. You run drills fucking constantly.
Yeah.
It's insane. But that way, if there is something to happen, you can act on it. And, oh my God, I totally lost my train of thought on that. I went deeper on the military.
You were talking about the training that the military does.
Oh, yeah. So anyways, you don't have, as a police officer, you don't have that kind of dedication to training because it's not, being a police officer, you still have a relatively decent civilian life.
Right.
Whereas military, a lot of times it's 100% military. It's a totally different lifestyle.
That's your job all the time.
Yeah. And so that's why you consistently train in these things. It's part of your life. and it just doesn't exist there. So these people get all this equipment and they fuck up because they don't actually know how to use it, because it's not designed for your everyday homeowner.
Yeah.
It's military equipment we're talking about here. Some of it is easy. I mean, you can train people to train it. It's just not being done properly, in my mind.
Yeah. And I think in my notes, this is when they start to get to like the Q&A.
Yeah.
Because he's got asked about the travel ban, right? And so this is when I want to find this little piece of video. So I'll make this point, and then you find this. So because he got asked about the travel ban and what happened with the travel ban, right? And he's like, well, some people don't want to report that the travel ban got upheld.
Yeah.
Which
we lost. Which and that's all they told.
Which is weird, because I remember getting like 30 notifications on my phone when the travel ban got upheld that was going to happen. But he's like, for some reason that nobody
reported it. Apparently.
So, let's see.
Yeah, that was big news when it happened.
Yes, huge.
It was huge.
Yeah.
And that, are you trying to find that video?
No, I have the video, and now I'm just queuing it up to this particular point.
Cue it up. Did you write down the timestamp?
Yes.
God, you're a baller.
Because I really wanted to make sure that we...
And we will then be sued, and they will sue us in the Ninth Circuit.
Yes, I know what you're...
Sign the final papers.
Okay, so he...
We're going to be sued, and they'll sue us in the Ninth Circuit, even though it shouldn't be there, and then they're going to sue, and then we'll probably lose.
But it would have been a lot easier. But some people didn't step up. But we're stepping up now. So we have a chance of getting close to $8 billion. Whether it's $8 billion or $2 billion or $1.5 billion, it's going to build a lot of walls. We're getting it done. We're right now.
This is why, again, for the fourth time, I think, why he's signing the state of emergency.
Yeah.
Now in construction, with wall in some of the most important areas, and we have renovated a tremendous amount of wall, making it just as good as new. That's where a lot of the money has been spent.
That's a lot of that.
In fact, we were restricted to renovating.
Yes, which is important, because I think that might be one of the first times he's admitted that he's not building wall right now.
Yeah, they've been restricted to renovating.
Yes, which is I don't know, I'm not trying to take digs at him, but like, I think it's important for people to know when he's fucking lying, because he does it so often. And like I said, there's the people who will just take it, and that's not.
We're building a lot of wall.
Yes.
I mean, he's technically not lying. But the
rebuilding.
implication
is,
you should, that's bad language, but it's general enough that he can get away with it.
Yeah.
Which is okay. But we're going to run out of areas that we can renovate pretty soon. So, and we need new wall.
We need it. We need new wall.
I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank in particular the angel moms and dads for being here. Thank you very much. We have great respect for you. The real country, our real country.
Our real country.
The people that really love our country, they love you. So I just want you to know that. I know how hard you fight, and I know how hard a fight you're having. I also want to thank all of the law enforcement for the job you do. Believe me, our country loves you, and they respect you greatly. And we're giving you a lot of surplus. We're giving you surplus military equipment, which
lots of it.
a lot of people didn't like giving previous to this administration.
Which is also not true, because think about
it's been around for a while.
Think about the increase in police brutality during the Obama administration. You know what I'm saying? That's so super not true.
I think last time it was a big issue was during like the Bush administration, but it's been happening since then, and it hasn't been a big issue up until now.
Hundreds of millions of dollars of surplus equipment, and as we get it, as you know, we send it down, and you have much better protection. But I really appreciate you being here. So the order is signed, and I'll sign the final papers as soon as I get into the Oval Office. And we will have a national emergency, and we will then be sued, and they will sue us in the Ninth Circuit, even though it shouldn't be there, and we will possibly get a bad ruling, and then we'll get another bad ruling, and then we'll end up in the Supreme Court, and hopefully we'll get a fair shake, and we'll win in the Supreme Court, just like the band.
Just like the band.
Circuit, and we lost, and then we lost in the appellate division, and then we went to the Supreme Court, and we won. That it was very interesting because yesterday they were talking about the ban. Because we have a ban, it's very helpful.
We have a ban.
Madam Secretary, is that right? Without the ban, we'd have a bigger problem. We have a
I just come on, man. It's that's a joke. That's a joke
so
right there. That's a joke.
Just I wanted it wouldn't stop. It was that upward inflection every single time, and it was just so petty and just terrible. And I was like, "Oh my God, when is this going to end?" And it didn't end for so long. Oh, it was so disgusting. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I was blowing up your phone when I was watching. I was like, dude, this is the worst thing I have ever seen him do.
Yes.
God, I can't wait to hear Shapiro talk about this. I have a feeling I don't know if he's going to be like, because he calls balls and strikes with his things. I wonder if he's going to be like thumbs up or thumbs down. I'm interested because I got a big old 2 thumbs down on this one.
He also got asked during the Q&A because some of the money for the national emergency is coming from the DOD.
Yes.
And he said that he had a conversation with some of the generals.
Yes.
About what they were doing with the money. He said, well, it didn't sound that important anyway, you know?
Sorry, new microphones.
No, which
adjusting.
I think is interesting when he's also trying to champion for increases in military spending, but they've got this money that's like, they're using it for stuff that's not really that important anyway. So
we
if
got
I take
so
it,
much
it won't be
money,
a big
we
deal.
don't know what to do with it. He said that so many times. That's an insane thing. What the hell why are we giving you budget increases?
Yeah, that he keeps talking about that building the military is vital, and that's what we need to do to have a strong country is build the military, but he's able to take money from it with no problem. And it's not.
I mean, this is peanuts to them. Don't worry about it. We give them so much money. $716 billion.
Yeah.
And he's only asking for like 8 of that.
And there's also $2.5 billion that comes from counter narcotics funds in the United States government to go towards the wall.
Interesting, right?
To fight drugs.
Yep.
So
we have two counter drug fighting agencies now.
Yep.
And they're stealing money off of each other.
He also said, and this is a direct quote, right? He said, I didn't need to do this, but I wanted to do it much faster.
Yeah.
But it's a national emergency. But he didn't need to do this. So that doesn't really make much sense.
None of it did, man.
And
it was so hard.
It's not like these things that he's saying in public can't be used as evidence in court. That he's saying that I didn't need to do it, but I wanted to do it faster,
Especially when he's talking about how he knows he's going to get sued for this.
Yes.
And then he hopes it'll make it up to the Supreme Court level. And to then say that, I didn't have to do this, but, so then how are you going to justify the fact that you have to do this?
Yeah.
It's an emergency. You're trying to say this is an emergency, but you just delegitimized yourself. You can't contradict yourself in every sentence. But that's what he did in that whole thing.
Yeah. He got asked about the campaign promise that Mexico would pay for the wall.
Yeah.
And then he started to try and rationalize that the money that we're saving from canceling NAFTA and putting the USMCA is indirectly paying for the wall because we're saving so much money. And so as soon as Congress signs the USMCA and they push everything through, then the money that we're saving is gonna make up for it.
We'll make up for it on the back end. That's what it's all about.
Like,
man.
how does that doesn't make any sense, man?
Yeah.
But
no, it's somehow maybe DOD gets their money through that, and then we get it through the DOD. Sure.
And
that's a leap, man. I don't know.
And it was after that he got asked about the record low border crossing numbers, and he said that he had numbers from lots of places.
I have sources.
Yep,
I have sources. And mostly Homeland Security, and he talked to Kristen Nielsen,
who has tiny hands, by the way. I saw that
You
during...
can't do another tiny hands thing, man.
saw
We're
it
over
during-
the tiny hands.
I saw it during the State of the Union. I actually wrote it down up here in the corner that Kirsten Nielsen has tiny hands. They're just very small. She's a small lady, but I don't know.
She's
I saw
not
her
very
do
big,
something.
so
Yeah,
she's semi-proportional.
particularly small hands.
Okay.
So
You know, it's funny. I've never looked at her hands. I need to watch.
it was just I just saw it. I just noticed.
But that was the same thing for me with Trump's baby hands thing.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming. I never noticed. Maybe I just don't notice people's hand size.
Well, and that's so she must have touched her face or something because there's no other reason that I would have
I don't mean
noticed.
to be like
No.
grilling you about.
No,
this.
I'm just saying because I'm not looking for it, but there's no other reason that I would have seen it unless
That's so funny.
Or maybe she was clapping.
Yeah.
That makes more sense if she's clapping during the State of the
I got
Union.
to check the internet, see if this is a thing yet.
Yeah, I didn't write down like a timestamp for it.
I wonder.
Just that it happened.
I'm excited.
And that's all the notes that I have. As far as the actual Q&A, I just have like some general stuff. Do you have any more questions during the Q&A that you want to hit?
No, not necessarily. I mean, we kind of talked about it earlier a little bit, and
Yeah.
that's how Trump justifies his sources. His statistics are different than the statistics that everyone else has.
Yeah.
And he asks, where do you do that? And he keeps referencing he has sources, and and then that kind of led into this. He started talking about these personalities because somebody asked him if some of these people that he listens to, like Rush Limbaugh or something like that, are they influential in what he does?
Yeah.
And he kind of said, yeah, and he listed off these people, and it was like, Rush Limbaugh, God, who else was it? A lot, Sean Hannity, his homie.
What's the woman's name with the blonde hair?
Oh, but that's what I was going to get to. I was going to say her last, but he names off a bunch of big, Republican, mouthpieces, most of them coming out of Fox News.
Yeah.
And, but then somebody asked him about Ann Coulter.
Yes.
Or he had said something about
Yes.
Ann Coulter. Because Ann Coulter, if you guys don't know, is she's kind of a crazy far leftist on immigration. And she was 100% behind Trump for a very, very long time due to his stance on the wall.
Far
And
right on immigration. You said far left.
Oh, far right. My bad. Yeah, very, very far right.
Yeah.
I said left. No. But
To the right.
to the right, baby. She's been, just a huge, Trumpian.
Yeah.
Except for this time, because she's very upset that he's, didn't make the deal, didn't get the money for the border wall. So now he's going to do a national emergency. She's super pissed off about it. And so he kind of said that she was a nice person or something like that. But then he said she was off the reservation, though. She's a little off the reservation. It's like, oh, yo, you just got called out by your boy.
Yeah.
So she's probably dazed and confused right now. Doesn't know what to do.
So in general, right, the problem that I have with the national emergency is that this has been said fucking everywhere, right? But it's circumventing Congress. It is going directly around Congress because they're not giving him the money that he wants, right?
Yep.
So the thing that's frustrating is that the bill that they're putting out that he signed, right, is a funding bill for the government.
Yeah.
Congress is deciding where money needs to go for everything to work okay. They decided to give you money for it, but they decided it doesn't deserve $8 billion or whatever the fuck you're asking for. So take it and move on. Like, that's their job. Take it and move on.
Because this is now a direct contradiction to the people's will.
Right. It's not like
because it cannot pass the people's Congress.
It's not like he's fighting with them on a bill just for the wall, because then there's at least some justification that he's trying to justify for this. But this is something he's trying to tack into a funding bill for the government.
Yeah.
Like this, that's what I don't understand about it, is that they even decided to add it in there is a win for you at all,
But I think to a portion of his base, the act of declaring a national emergency it takes over the narrative more than, the funding bill where he got screwed.
Yeah.
Essentially,
Well, now they see
because that
how
would be a
important it is to
political
him.
victory for, the Democrats in my mind.
Yeah.
But, I think a portion of his base gets riled up and just support him like, oh, screw it. Screw the government. We're going to do it anyways. I think a portion of his base responds to that.
Yeah.
And so I think politically he took a loss, but to his base he might have taken a win. But I don't know. We're gonna have to watch it play out.
It also scares. Mitch McConnell said that he didn't think it was a good idea, right? And there's a lot of Republicans that said they didn't think it was a good idea because it does the same thing that happened with who's the guy that started to do away with the filibuster in the Senate? Harry Reid, right? So
Dick Reed.
So this does the same thing that he just did, right? Or not just did, but that he did. If President Trump is able to do this, there's nothing that stops Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez from becoming president and doing this same thing for something else.
Yep.
There's nothing at all because she then has justification that he just did it. And there's nothing that anybody in either party can do about it because the precedent's been set. And that's what all of this is based on, right? That's why the Supreme Court and the judicial branch is so important. It's because they're the ones that allow things to be cemented in precedent, And that's, if something like this happens, then that's.
And I think that was part of, for, what do they say? The road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? The DREAM Act that President Obama passed, and this is what Trump used a lot as his precedent.
Yeah.
Back, I think, with the travel ban, I think it was.
Yep.
But it's that argument for executive power. Like, well, it's been done before, so I'm going to do it now, even though those were wrong. I'm going to do it to overrule those or whatever, because they never actually got pushed to the Supreme Court all the way. But now the travel ban did, and he realized that this can actually work.
Right.
It's that unitary executive theory in a way, I think.
And it just shows, to me at least, again, it's another example for me that he doesn't really understand what his role is. And he doesn't really understand what Congress's role is, because anybody who, in my opinion, right, this is my opinion part of this, anybody who, in my opinion, has the correct view of the separation of powers is going to recognize that was Obama overstepping bounds, and it was something that was allowed to happen, but something that probably shouldn't have happened, Do I think that it's great that the Dreamers are able to be here, that something was done? I don't love the way that it was done. I love that it did happen because I think that's great, but I don't love the way that it was done.
But it should have been a piece of legislation passed by Congress, not an executive order.
And Barack Obama, President Obama, as a constitutional lawyer, I am sure understood that he was pushing the bounds of what is set out in the Constitution, because he was a constitutional lawyer. He knew that someone would be able to make the argument that it could be done, and I
think he did it just on the fact that, I need to do it politically, so I'm going to just do it, and then it's Supreme Court, and then we'll just deal with it then.
And that's one of the things
it got passed.
That's one of the things I think he always had working for him. Is he didn't always have to rely on other people to find a way for him to do something. He could take 2 hours at night, after he's like, all right, fuck everybody, I'm going to bed. He can take 2 hours to be like, okay, let me think back to when I was fucking doing blow and staying up all night and writing some papers and let me find something in here that is going to allow me to get some shit done, Whereas President Trump doesn't know shit about even business hardly. And that's why he's had to be bankrupt all these times and had lost all these terrible business ideas,
Yeah.
But that's why, he has to sit back and ask a group of 4 people, his lawyers, fucking Rudy Giuliani, to go out and find a way for me to get something done, you know? And the best thing that Rudy Giuliani has is, well, President Obama did this to get the DREAM Act passed, so why don't you just do that? That's...
Yeah, I kind of like the idea, though, in a way, of it actually going up to the Supreme Court, because, I mean...
it has to, man.
The outcome worries me, just due to the way the court is built.
Yeah.
And just,
I don't know.
It's hard to believe that is a totally unbiased institution. It is so hard to believe that.
I think that in the way that they are fans of President Trump, maybe, but I also think that some of them, not necessarily Brett Kavanaugh or maybe even Neil Gorsuch, but some of the older people on the bench have a more traditional view of the powers and don't like the idea of him overstepping. You know, that was a big problem that we had with Brett Kavanaugh, that he has loose idea of powers of the executive, you know, that he had written papers or talked about the unitary executive theory, you know, shit like that. Those things are dangerous, but a lot of the people on the bench right now don't have that.
And I mean, hopefully he more or less kind of outgrew that stuff, because I would not blame him for doing that.
He said that he did.
Fine.
You know, he said that he did. He said that, you know, that was a thing that I wrote X amount of years ago, and I don't, you know, think about that anymore. So
just think about me as a once very loyal O'Reilly fan.
Exactly.
You know, and, you know, very, very loyal to Fox News and, you know, all that. I was one of those people that, I mean, I still think CNN is generally trash. At least their TV is. Yeah. You know, not their articles are way better than their TV.
Yes.
You know,
they do a lot of fact checking articles that are pretty legit.
Yeah. And, you know, you got to avoid the opinion pieces, but it's easy to do if you know what you're doing. And then, but, you know, I can't take it anymore. It's so bad now. So that gives me hope that somebody like that can change, and I can have faith in humanity still. Like, okay, no, his contemporary, you know, career says otherwise. He's okay. But.
I'm not as actively concerned as I think a lot of people are about what the outcome will be when this goes to the Supreme Court.
Well, did you hear that what was the state? Oklahoma, maybe, the abortion ban that they had put in we talked about it once on the show.
Yes.
They had to drive all the way across the state.
Yes.
That was denied by the Supreme Court.
So now
you can't do that. So so you can't force whatever loophole they had. They closed it, which kind of was, okay, that's interesting.
That's what I'm saying. I'm down
with that.
There was some shit that I was concerned about with Brett Kavanaugh more so than Neil Gorsuch. Neil Gorsuch I felt pretty okay about. I remember, you know, when we talked about him and just listening to, there was some stuff that was troubling, but
I like him much better than Kavanaugh.
Especially as I've gotten a little bit older and gotten my knees a little bit deeper in, you know, like the waters. I'm not as concerned.
Yeah, it was pretty early on.
So I'm not as concerned about Gorsuch now as I was when he first got on, you know, but there's still a lot.
We're so young at this still.
I know.
Isn't that awesome? Though?
1 year in, baby.
Everything is new. Everything is, it's constantly new. Everything is constantly changing. I love it. That was the Rose Garden, right? That's initially where we started.
Pretty much.
Then just like we talked about, we grew big picture.
Yeah, the ACLU has already announced, I think yesterday I saw, that they were going to sue the Trump administration to challenge the national emergency in court. So it's already happened.
It's already happened. They had the paperwork ready, printed out. All it had to do was be signed and sent off.
Yep.
And I think that's probably what happened. It was immediate.
Yeah. He also said in the Rose Garden that Obama added more to the deficit than every other president
combined,
which is obviously untrue.
Well, especially if you take in, you know, what do you call it? When you go back, the currency exchange, whatever.
What is inflation.
That called? Inflation. Yeah. God, why did I not be able to remember inflation?
When Jordan and I were watching that, and he said that, Jordan was like every president ever, and I said, "Oh yeah, did you count George Washington's $6? Like what the fuck?" I'm like, what are you even talking about? But yeah,
I would like to know if that was a legitimate thing to say.
Yeah, no. So that's obviously untrue, because that's one of the things that is also covered in that CNN article. Yeah. They broke down the numbers and inflation and everything. They're like, that's not true. Like he had a fuckload of money to it, but they also talked about
I would guess that who was the administration with the New Deal? That had to
FDR.
be FDR.
Yeah,
that had to be one of
an
the
insane
biggest,
amount. Yeah,
just absolutely insanity.
Like when they talked about Obama, but they said like when Obama was in office, Bush had already set in such a trend of spending so much money to try and fight the recession that that was on a natural curve. I mean, it was an insane amount of money, but it was not. That was already kind of what was getting down at that time, you know. But,
Do you remember when it was that the national debt actually got, essentially we had a we were balancing our checkbook actually and not running in the red during the Clinton administration, I believe.
Right, and that was the last time that we had
and now
an actual,
that's an insane thing to think about, is how fast that started.
Yeah, what's that even called? Not a profit, but like
a deficit.
No, like the opposite of a deficit, but it's not called a surplus. That's
a surplus. Yeah, we had a net surplus.
That's the last time that we had a net surplus. Yeah. So, let's see the ACLU.
And it's so hard. You know, ever since once you start running a deficit and you're arguing for, a tax decrease, which I'm all about tax decreases because I believe they work in the long run. But that early on, like we actually had a statistical reasoning for a tax break because the government had a surplus of money.
Yeah,
but nowadays we don't have a surplus of money, and it's just weird to think about that. Like maybe, hey, this will help. And this will help.
It's that type of thing that, like, when Jake and Morgan were here and we talked about like gold and shit, that I'm like, none of this fucking matters anyway. Like, this is all bullshit. Like, we are at a point where we don't even have positive dollars. It's all negative. It's all fucking made up zeros and ones. Like, this is bullshit, man.
We'd be better off with like something like, I don't want to say that, but something like a Bitcoin. It's almost because the government cannot fuck it up. And I think that's what the ultimate hope is for, the cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
They have kind of had this weird free market issue though with cryptocurrencies because it's not just relying on like one. You can have, there's hundreds now.
A bunch of different ones. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really interesting situation, man. The whole affair was just jaw-dropping.
Yeah, and
drove me insane.
The last thing I have on it is that he was talking about North Korea and said that if he wasn't the president, then we would that we would be at war with North Korea, and that he ended everything in North Korea. And
he did preface that actually this time, I think it's one of the first times he said it, he's in my opinion. Which he didn't used to say.
Yeah.
I think he might see some growth there.
Yes, no, but I mean, when he was saying, he did say, in my opinion, we would be at war with North Korea, but he also said that he had stopped all nuclear whatever, all nuclear testing, all no nuclear rockets, anything, no nothing, right? While
Japan put me up for a Nobel Peace Prize because they don't have rockets flying over their head anymore.
And while there hasn't been any further testing of missiles in the open in North Korea, there is growing evidence that the missile program they have is still active and they're making more weapons still. The IAEA reported that in August, like just a couple months after the meeting, and then in December, there's American analytics groups that reported that they have facilities there and they're still making weapons there. Like, that just happened. It's February. In December, there was people that said that. So,
I mean,
that's not
really
true.
Think that was actually going to work, right?
Yep.
I mean, we knew as soon as they came back, he's like, so he's just going to do it out of the goodness of his heart. You guys haven't signed anything. You have like a little nice little saying, paper that says, hey, we met and we did a lot and we're going to work hard. And then they signed it. And that's what they did the first time they had the summit. It doesn't bind them to do anything. They just do what they do, and they're like, well, okay, we'll try to play nice.
So that is all I have for all that. So what do you move on to next? What do you got?
I think last but not least, we got to talk about the Green New Deal.
Word.
So, actually, unless we want to take a break.
Yeah, let's do it.
We haven't taken a break. So,
let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back. And after we get back, we're going to be talking all about the Green New Deal.
Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you're ready to eat. With everything going on in this nation, we need some information, and that's why salt need to be stationed in your rotation. With real talking, real topics, real people, real problems. Think we need some help to solve them, and leave it up to Colin and Donovan. Cause that's what's that? Let's get ready.
And that means that we're back.
Boom.
I like the way that worked out.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So I am ready So how much do you know about the Green New Deal?
I don't know. I don't know dick about the Green New Deal.
What have you heard about the Green New Deal? Much
that it's going to turn us into a socialist America.
Yeah. It okay. So
also that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is stupid because she's been in Congress about 2 weeks and is trying to pass sweeping legislation.
Oh yeah.
Why don't you sit the fuck down for a couple years?
What is this? Stay in your lane.
Jesus.
AOC. Stay in your lane.
Yes. I know. Why don't you earn your stripes or do something like you
can't do that.
Yeah.
No,
fuck
I'm
off.
an activist. I am a activist legislator.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
So go ahead and tell me about it. Let's hear it.
A couple weeks ago, it really kind of came out. Well, I'd say 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. There'd been a lot of talk about this so-called Green New Deal, and it was going to be this big environmental, friendly, but kind of hybrid with the old school New Deal. Mm-hmm. And but anyways, it finally came out from their office, and NPR actually, I think, was the one that broke it out and actually, sent out the first copies of the text. And it's a short, pretty short. It's a non-binding House resolution, so there's no teeth to this thing, but it lays out a kind of very strange green version of the New Deal, all like a governmental economic shift combined with a bunch of environmental changes so that we can fight climate change.
All right, so break down some of the points for me.
Okay, so here we go. The first, let me actually pull up the text here because it's like I said, it's a short read. And there's only a few sections in it, and I did that little podcast practice the other day. So essentially, they state that they want to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions through the fair and just transition for all communities and workers. They're going to create millions of good, high-wage jobs and ensure prosperity and economic security for all people of the United States. They want a job for everyone in the United States. They want zero greenhouse gases. And they're going to invest in the infrastructure of the United States to sustainably meet the challenges of the 21st century. This is all verbatim from the text.
That's very general.
Yeah, and I think there's 3 more, and that's their intro, broad look at what they want to do.
They want all working people to have a job? Or all they working everyone, age, healthy, able people to have a job?
They want everyone in America to have a job. And they're going to provide that, apparently. But then
the Republicans should love that then, because that would take a lot of money out of entitlements.
But that is essentially it's a government takeover of the employment sector. They want to give everybody a job. Give them a job, doing something. Who knows? We're just going to put people to work. We have all these new industries that we're going to do, because we're going to be doing a 10-year, this whole thing takes place over 10 years, and it says that in the text. They're going to shift over a 10-year period to a complete net zero greenhouse emissions forms of renewable energy in 10 years. And that's all these jobs and all these things that are going to happen economically are all geared towards that end goal.
Right. So a lot of those jobs is this laid out in the bill that a lot of those jobs would go towards greenhouse, like green energy, or is it just implied? I don't know.
It's implied. Know. The whole thing is incredibly general and implied. But they kind of go on to say they want to
because you said it's non-binding, right?
Yeah, it's just a non-binding resolution. But they want to secure for all people of the United States for generations to come clean air and water, climate and community resilience, healthy food, access to nature, and a sustainable environment, and to promote justice and equity by stopping current, preventing future, and repairing historic oppression of indigenous communities, communities of color, migrant communities, deindustrialized communities. Wait for it. It's I'm not even halfway through yet. Depopulated rural communities, the poor, low-income workers, women, the elderly, the unhoused, people with disabilities, and the youth. referred to in this resolution as frontline and vulnerable communities.
So everyone.
Everyone. All the disenfranchised.
Because, but I mean, everybody would fit into at least some...
Pretty much some category of that.
At least some category. I mean, even rich people would fit into some category of that.
Maybe. They're decentralized. It's just... Because it's all the... I mean, these are essentially listing off all the kind of tribes.
So how long ago does my family have to have come here for me to count as an immigrant community?
You're not an immigrant community.
Why? Because I don't live
because you're a white guy.
Well, that doesn't count. I fit into I check the Hispanic box when I fill out things.
Oh yeah.
So
did you do your ancestry yet?
I'm a quarter. You're
a quarter?
Yeah. Yeah, my dad's half Mexican, half Irish.
You are more Mexican than Elizabeth Warren is Native American.
Yeah, I'm 18.6% Central American as per my DNA thing, but so that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm enough that I get to check off so
you're
what's
part of that.
Yeah, so what's gonna
except you have the wrong
what's gonna happen for me?
Nothing.
My son is darker than me.
Well, essentially, as they go through the bill, they say that
except for Whitey,
because they refer to these frontline and vulnerable groups, that
that's really
all
good.
The focus is that the blood
really
orange
good.
one.
Fuck,
yeah, so
that
good, right?
Good.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of light, but it is really. It's still a good tasting IPA.
That's good,
right? Again, that's 10 Barrel Brewing Company Blood Orange IPA. It's called Blood Runs Cold. So badass. Nice. But yeah, they use that language of frontline and vulnerable communities through the rest of the bill. And they say that they are going to be helped out, especially to assume leadership roles. And this is the oppression Olympics tribes that we're always dealing with. Where do you rank on the hierarchy of oppression?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the type of groups they're looking to target for putting into leadership roles.
Why should you not have to work your way into a leadership role?
Because that's when your mind, they said it right there, to pursue equity.
Yeah.
They want it. This is
I don't like that.
Yeah. This is where the socialist aspect comes into this whole thing.
Yeah. This definitely is, I would classify more as equality of outcome as opposed to equality of opportunity.
Exactly.
And I'm not really, I don't like that. I don't love that at all.
It gets better, man. We're also going to redo our entire transportation system. And
no more cars?
No, we're going to shift over to 100% in all industries and all sectors. In everything we do as a nation, we're going to switch everything over to green in 10 years. All electric, zero emission cars.
What are they going to do to the dams so that we can have hydro energy?
I know. They're just going to have to convince Jay Inslee.
Yeah, because what the fuck is going on there?
Yeah, they're just gonna. Jay Inslee, you got to remember, he's just not with the program. Man. He's not part of the party. He's a wannabe leftist, but he's really bad at it. I mean, I love that whole hydroelectric, not green energy. But in the Green New Deal, it does actually name hydroelectric power as something that would qualify.
Thank God.
They do say that.
So maybe they leave us alone.
Yeah. I mean, everything from, they mentioned manufacturing, the manufacturing sector, everything will be switched over to zero emissions of greenhouse gases in 10 years. So they bring up high-speed rail right now. That was a big thing they brought up.
All of the industries in America?
Everything. They actually say they will repair and upgrade every building in the United States so that it has essentially
in 10 years?
In 10 years. That's what this is.
That doesn't seem like it's viable. It seems like every building in America would take longer than, unless.
That means every house would need to be equipped with Elon Musk, solar panel roofs, and everybody needs to switch to Teslas.
So for that to work, right, they couldn't have like a government team that went across the country. They would have to subsidize every single person in every state, in every town who could build and would have to pay them for however long it took to switch everything in their town and then go back to work doing whatever they were doing before in a new green way.
Yeah, if they could.
If they could, because I am not sure.
Do you know which kind of manufacturing would not be able to survive that?
Lots of stuff.
Yours?
Yeah.
Because of
the glue vapors?
Well, no, that should be. Man, that shit's crazy. But no, the vulcanized rubber. You know, if we are going to be a country
because it's petroleum based.
Because we cannot promote that much, you know, so we can't import it. You know, they talk about trade deals in this.
Or mine for it or drill it. Like,
yeah.
Because you
can't produce it in America,
no
obviously.
Risk to the environment.
And they talk about essentially leading the world in getting everybody in the world on a Green New Deal.
What about like making metal and stuff?
No. I don't know how. You know, they said as much as technologically
for that.
No.
I don't understand.
Come on, man. And I don't understand. I think it kind of boils down to straight physics. I don't know if you can produce things like that completely greenly. At least, definitely not the technological level we're at.
There
might be, but I don't know.
That comes out of it on the back end.
Yeah. Things like nuclear are not considered green. They actually address that as one of the ways. What's that?
Or not the government, because of the potential risk to the environment.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not green. It's dangerous.
It's pretty safe most of the time.
Yeah, it generally is.
Fukushima it. Yeah. Don't build it near the water, and don't build it on a fault line.
Yeah, we've learned some rules, but
build it in the middle of a tectonic plate.
Yeah,
that's what you need to do.
But for the most part, like reactors and things these days, they don't generally melt down on their own. It's usually now by disasters.
Yeah,
physical disasters.
You just need to figure out what to do with all that water.
Yeah.
That's what all the water on the back end, because like in Fukushima, they just have those big cement containers, and they're like, we're just piling it up here. We're not sure what to do with it, but we're piling it up.
Yeah. I mean, if you had enough water you can import to a nuclear reactor, right? A long distance, and you ran that all the way to like the desert, and you just pump out as much steam as possible, you can artificially create rain, can't you?
But would
Saudi
that not make nuclear rain because
no, man, it's just
water is radiated?
No. It's just the water runs through the reactors. You just drop your phone again.
Yeah.
Well, the water goes it cools the nuclear reactor, but it doesn't actually get irradiated.
I think that there's particles in it because that's why it's kept separate, or else they would be able to just put it back into. That's what I'm saying.
But the majority of the water isn't contaminated, and that's why it.
But it's
so hot it becomes steam and all that.
That portion of it that is contaminated that they have to contain in drums outside of the building.
Don, why are you trying to stop my apocalyptic dreams? Okay, I'm trying to create the biggest.
Rain.
Zombie apocalypse, post-nuclear apocalypse world in the deserts of Saudi Arabia so that I can go take it over and make that the Badlands and be the king of the Badlands, the warlord of the Badlands.
What else do
Sounds
you
like
have
a good
there?
idea. Sorry.
What else do you have there for the Green New Deal?
Well, I mean, I urge everybody to do it because it's only I think it's 14 pages, and 4 of them are an introduction that talk about nothing. But they just kind of go through and just say very, very generally that they're going to support things like, they're going to, the Green New Deal must be developed through transparent and inclusive consultation, collaboration, and partnership with frontline and vulnerable communities, labor unions, worker cooperatives, civil society groups, academia, and businesses.
How do you decide who fits into those categories? That's what I want to know.
That is the problem. That is the whole. This is the culture war playing out, being attempted to play out through legislation.
Yeah.
Except it's a kind of a generally safe piece of legislation because it doesn't actually do anything. It's just we're going to do this. If you ever acted on it, it would be disastrous because you're talking about essentially an entire switch clean over to socialism in a way, because the government's going to take over every single sector.
Yeah.
We're all going to get paid from it. We're going to get dividends, essentially, because we're getting paychecks from the government to work now. But the government owns everything and then controls all the industries so that they can maintain a green environment.
Do I get more dollars or less dollars than I'm getting right now?
I mean, you'll probably get more dollars.
But things will cost more dollars?
Oh, I mean, you probably wouldn't have to pay for very much. You might have to buy groceries. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, even that, I mean, you probably wouldn't have to be covered there. I don't even know why we need money at this point. We're just signing up to sign all of our freedom away. You just get what you get. Everything's equal. It doesn't go that dark because, again, everything in here is so general. But the most interesting thing about this, because that's basically it. I mean, they try to go into detail about how they're going to be doing things like this, that, and the other thing. But, the only thing they talk about with transportation is that high-speed rail. What the hell you do about airplanes, I don't know. And, and then what's this whole idea of being the leader in this for the rest of the world? Are we going to try to make other governments do this too?
Do we have an electric airplane?
Not yet, Tesla. Elon Musk, what are you doing, man? I think he might have talked about that once before on one of the Joe Rogan podcasts.
Seems like that would be really hard to do.
Yeah, it's
to power an engine that powerful for that long on just like batteries.
Yeah, that power. I can't imagine, but I mean, because jet fuel too. You got to remember, jet fuel is like super fuel.
Yeah,
it's nothing like gasoline. So I don't know, but. It's a bunch of pie in the sky. Is that what you say? Ideals, and most of them very, very much centered on socialism.
Yeah.
They deeply hit to the socialistic core anyways.
I don't love that at all.
No. And it surprisingly came out, I believe, I might have to fact check this, but I think it came out right kind of after the State of the Union when he said, America will never be a socialist country.
Yes.
But the most interesting thing about this is we've had presidential candidates running for Democrats that are supporting this openly. And big shooters like Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris, sorry. Don't get mad. Did you hear that? That's actually the way now.
Kamala.
Yeah, she said that herself. And okay, so that's how you say that. I don't know.
Interesting.
But she's endorsed it. A bunch of these, far left Democrats. I think I don't know if Elizabeth Warren has or not. I think Cory Booker has signed on to it and all this stuff. And then the really funny thing was Mitch McConnell the other day was talking shit and saying, okay, well, we're just going to hold it for a vote in the Senate. It's out there.
Yeah.
We're going to do that.
And we'll just see who's a socialist and who's not.
Yeah. And he's like, well, yeah, I want to put it to the floor and see what you guys actually vote for. Because we're going to call your guys' ass out on this.
Yeah.
Because this is dangerous. If this kind of stuff actually happened and actually started getting to, followed through, you can literally kiss democracy goodbye. This is a 10-year plan to go socialistic, nationally socialistic.
I'm going to read through it.
Yeah. National socialism.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, right?
Yeah.
There's another word for that, isn't there?
I'm going to read through it and then we can talk about it more next week.
Okay.
Before I say whether or not I feel like it'll lead us to socialism.
I will send you that little thing that I recorded the other day where I actually read it verbatim all the way through.
Oh, word.
It's that short. I ran through it, it took me like an hour to record it, but it only plays out, I think, over about 10 minutes.
Yeah. Word.
So word. But yeah, it's out there. The candidates are doing it. The last thing we heard, and I think this was either Thursday or Friday, Mitch McConnell said he might force it for a vote in the Senate. Not that it'll pass. And I think so too, because I would like this thing to be called out. So we'll have to see what happens with that next. And hopefully the presidential candidates quit endorsing it and don't actually follow through with it, because that's a platform that I think is easily losable to Trump in the 2020 election. I think that's a far left platform is not going to get you to win.
No, it's not.
Voter turnout will be
Centrist.
extremely low, and Trump will remain because he's not a socialist. But yeah, that's the Green New Deal, kind of in a general nutshell. There's not a whole lot to it, but it's kind of scary.
Well, I'm excited.
And I don't
to
think
read
it would work either. It's. I mean, you're talking pure insanity. Repairing every building in the United States. Zero. You cannot drive that car in 10 more years. You'll have to have essentially a Tesla.
My car just hit 200,000 miles the other day.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, just finally.
The Rover?
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, man.
They see you rolling.
I'm scared for
miles.
when it breaks. I'm going to have to buy a new car, and that sucks.
Yeah, we're in that position. About time to might be having to get some new cars here pretty soon.
Yeah, let me get a sweet truck.
Yeah, me too. Especially after this snow, I'm like,
I don't like not having a truck. Land Rover was perfect in the snow. Was just fine. Was awesome. But
that's kind of what it's built for, right?
I'm gonna get a truck that's fucking heavy.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't want to have to put anything in the back of it to drive it around. I just want a fucking.
I used to have to. I did that when I had a truck. I know people that drive big ass trucks that still do that.
Still got to put some stuff in there.
I used to get 4 bags of concrete, and I put 2 on each side back over the wheel wells.
Yeah.
And then after it rained a couple times, you got 2 fucking rocks sitting there. They're not gonna go nowhere. It's nice. That helped out a lot.
Yeah.
So is it officially what we would call the grab bag time?
I think so. I think it is.
How you liking these mics, by the way? You like the freedom with your hands?
Yeah, and I like, definitely more room here. Mm-hmm. That's nice. So do you want to talk about Eastern Washington wants to be its own state?
Yes.
Yeah, so I saw that.
We talked about this just a little bit in the pre-show.
Yeah, I saw that, I think, on King 5 the other day, that Eastern Washington wants to become its own state. And they want to call themselves Liberty because they are upset about the new gun laws that were passed, the new gun law that was passed in Washington State, I-1639, that has to do with safe storage of your guns and just things like that. Raised the age for rifles to 21. You can still buy shotguns if you're 18, but you have to be...
Only semi-automatic rifles.
Yeah. So... There are lots of people who are upset about that.
Didn't see that coming from a million miles away.
Right. A lot of it, I think, is unjustified because it's misunderstood. The bill itself is misunderstood, like what it actually does and what it actually says. I don't think enough people actually read it. I think way too many people
did not listen to episode 37 in the Salt of the Streets podcast.
Correct.
Shameless plug.
Or they just... listen to something that someone else was saying about it.
Yeah. Saw it on Facebook.
Yeah. There's also like sheriffs in the state. I don't know which counties, but sheriffs in the state that have said that they're not going to enforce I-1639.
That's dangerous.
Because they're saying that their duty is to the Constitution and they think that this law is unconstitutional. And until it's challenged in the courts and proven to be constitutional, they're not going to do it. And I don't know enough about being a sheriff to know whether or not they are held to the standard of the Constitution or to the state law in the county in which they reside. I don't think
it would be any different than any other person. They would have to file a suit and sue the government, just like anyone else would. They could do it as like, how they have their associations, various, I don't even know what they're called.
Yeah.
But, all sorts of different trades have different associations, and they can sue them as an association if they wanted and take them to court, which would go to the state Supreme Court eventually, and then it would possibly get up to the federal Supreme Court. But if they want to sue them, they need to sue them. They can't just sit there and
and not do it. They just said they're not going to enforce it.
Yeah, see, that's bullshit. You can't. Your job is to uphold the law, whether you like the law or not. If you think, especially as somebody, a group of people that are very familiar with law, because that's what they generally, in a perfect world, center their lives around. Nobody's perfect.
Right.
But, you should have the ability to say, no, this is this is bullshit, but I'm still having to do this because it is the law. And I believe in the rule of law, which keeps our society together. So I don't like that breaking the ranks. There's the right channels to do it.
Yeah, and like I said, I certainly don't agree with it because I don't think that that's the right thing to do there. But I don't know enough about
even on the merits of the bill itself. It's still If you have any kind of problem with it, don't sit there and bitch and complain and then tell the world you're not going to do your job.
Right,
you're going to allow people to break laws. Your ass should be fired. Sorry, man.
And that's, I guess, what the true test is going to be is the next time they're up for a vote, whether or not they keep their seat as sheriff or enough people give a shit to get them out of their seat as sheriff, you know? Because I don't know that I've ever voted for our local sheriff. But
I think I've voted for the last guy for a long time because, like, my grandpa knew him somehow. I was like, yeah, I hear good things about him, sure.
Just run with it.
I don't have any police brutality that I know of. I don't know. I don't generally have to deal with that.
Yeah. So there was a group of small people in the Capitol that were protesting, that were saying that they want to leave the state.
Yeah.
And
you said it was 50?
About that, yeah.
Okay.
The crowd was not big. And I mean, unless they only showed part of the crowd that was there, but it was not a lot of people that was depicted on that news piece. And I just, like I said, I thought it was just ignorant. It just shows an ignorance of basic civics that you
can't do that.
A small group of people are here to say that you want to secede from not even the union, but just from the state. You want to create a new state, and it doesn't work that way.
You can't do that.
How
many times has California had to do it?
Yeah,
tried to do it.
And how
you constitutionally cannot do that and be a part of the United States.
No,
you would be a foreign country cut off from the rest of us, and there's no physical way that could actually happen.
And so we talked about that too. Me and Jordan did. Because I said to him, like, so even in a world where they do become their own state, like, they don't have enough there to sustain themselves.
No.
Like, they have like farming, like produce and stuff. I'm like, but all of the money is in Western Washington, is in all of the big cities in Western Washington. That's where all of the money in this state is. Like, so that
would be the economy of that state would be less than the remainder of the state that was left.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It wouldn't work. They can't sustain themselves that way. No. So it's funny. It was a funny thing to see people talking about there.
It's interesting that I don't know. Do they usually come from California? Did those initiatives come out, from the right or from the left? Generally,
I think this time around it was from the left because it was from the right. Southern California wanted to secede from Northern California because Hollywood and all the nonsense. They wanted to be away from
Hollywood to San Francisco.
Yeah, they wanted to be separated from the liberal bullshit in Northern California. That's what they are, or wherever. That's what it is, right? Northern California. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it was because there's been a couple of them that came up. One that split it into one of them that split it into three. Mm-hmm. You had Northern, Central, and California.
There was a couple of people in the news piece that were from Western Washington that were there because they were upset that the people in Eastern Washington were going to get to leave, and then they would be left in Western Washington with all the liberals.
Guys, that you can move now, right?
You can move at any time.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a pretty hardcore Republican conservative that likes... You want to go to some place that feels just like home? Go to Montana.
This may not be the best place for you to live.
Yeah. But I mean, or it ain't that bad.
Mm-mm.
It ain't that bad. Like, I understand. Eastern Washington is a totally different beast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a totally different world once you get over the other side of the mountains. But for whatever reason, we have these lines drawn, and it is what it is. We all got to get along. Just, you got to deal with it like the rest of us conservatives stuck in the liberal paradise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I also want to talk about leading into sports because I want to talk about Amazon next week so we can talk about like a little bit more at length. Okay. Yeah. Maybe a little bit more news will come out this week about it. So we can talk about the NFL and Colin Kaepernick and then go into sports. And then, yesterday, the NFL and Colin Kaepernick and Eric Reed, reached a settlement in the collusion case that Kaepernick had open against them.
Collusion.
And yes, that is what he said, was that the NFL and the owners were colluding against him to keep him out of a job.
It's just a witch hunt. It's a witch hunt.
Yeah. So they'll also sign a non-disclosure agreement, so there's no information about how much money either of them got, or any money, or if whatever, right? There are some people who are speculating, because that's all that anybody can do. They're speculating that the NFL did it because there was enough evidence that they were concerned about a negative outcome. There are other people who are saying that it's possible that, not possible, that they think that there wasn't enough evidence for them to be found at fault, but that they just would rather have it dealt with than have any chance of anything stupid or negligible that any of the owners said in their interviews to come out. They're trying to avoid any type of other scandal, because there's concern about that. I mean, who was it, Donald Sterling or whatever, that
Rightfully
said that racist shit, whoever it was that owned the Mavericks, right? I think that's who it was. I don't know.
I remember a basketball team, right?
Yeah. Both of those things may be incorrect, but I'm pretty sure it was Donald Sterling who said some shit about, like, he didn't want his wife to be taking pictures with black people.
Like I remember hearing about that.
You can fuck them, just don't take pictures with them or whatever. Yeah. He lost his team. Like, they took his team from him. So
didn't Jerry Brown? Or no, not Jerry Brown.
They're concerned
the
about shit like that. Jerry Jones.
Didn't he get into some shit a few years ago about something that was kind of racist, or somebody tried to accuse him of something?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it's certainly possible.
It might be ancient history.
So I also know that the Alliance of American Football, or the American Alliance of Football, is like
a union.
It's a new thing that just started this year. They had their first games last week, and there's actually games on right now. It's kind of like 3A for football, right? Like, this is like, you can play here after college if you don't play in the NFL. You can play in the American Alliance of Football.
Minor league.
Yeah, and there's like 8 teams, and so there's 4 games every week, and they play each other, and there's all this stuff. So it's a new thing that started, and so
that's cool. So like Drew Baby Drew minor league.
Yeah,
but football.
Yep. They
like that.
asked Colin Kaepernick if he wanted to play, and he asked for $20 million to play in the American Alliance Football.
Bro, you know who we are.
So we'll see what happens, because he's got dollars now that he's working with Nike and that big old thing that they're doing in the campaign. So we'll see what's up, but I'm interested to see what happens. Like I said, I think that this is a huge part of why he didn't have a job in the first place, was because he was actively suing the NFL, and that may not be the best argument, because Eric Reed played this year, and he just signed, like, one of my things is that he just signed a 3-year extension with the Panthers for $22 million,
Interesting.
So that may not be the most valid argument, but I also know that Eric Reed wasn't anywhere near as outspoken as Colin Kaepernick was about it.
Different levels there.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I think that is maybe part of his deal,
Could be. I wouldn't doubt it.
I think Cap was also asking for way more money than people were willing to pay him. So that's
kind of like
his deal.
It's like, sorry, man, do you realize you're stepping down?
Right.
We don't do that down here. You can, thanks, but
right.
Maybe when you want to talk about $100K, we'll come back.
Right. Because there's a lot of teams, like I said, that I think that just didn't want to deal with the press that was going to come with that.
Yeah.
And so they would rather take somebody who's like a little bit older or a little bit younger or just not as good, to not deal with any of the bullshit that might come with that. Because it's at the point now where I don't even think they show the national anthem to most football games on TV anymore.
Yeah.
It's because it just causes problems for people, Like I feel like they still do it, but I don't think they do it anywhere near as often, But I may be completely wrong. I'm not sure. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm interested to see where that goes.
Did they play the national anthem during the Super Bowl?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they did. But they also played America the Beautiful, right?
Probably.
Okay, I don't remember. It wasn't a very eventful Super Bowl.
Fuck that last Super Bowl.
Did we talk about that last episode? Because that was a while ago, right?
Yeah, I'm sure we did. If not, then fuck it, because
it's not worth talking about.
No,
it was that bad. Everything
was
about
horrible. I
it.
hated
Commercials, everything.
So we can move on to proper sports now, I think, unless you have
Proper
anything
sports? We do some proper sports, lad.
Sports. Yep. So the Falcons released their corner, Robert Alford, and then he was signed by the Cardinals like the next day or some shit like that. The Eagles picked up Nick Foles' $20 million option for 2019 because they didn't cut him, so now they got to pay him $20 million. He only played like 2-3 games last year.
Ow.
Yep, he's their backup, so that sucks. The Falcons released their kicker, Matt Bryant, and then I think maybe he didn't get signed, but he was getting looked at by other people. The Panthers signed Eric Reed to a 3-year extension worth more than $22 million. The Buccaneers cut their defensive end, Vinny Curry. The Ravens traded Joe Flacco to the Broncos for like a mid-round pick.
What?
Yeah.
The world's just over.
Yep.
Flacco.
Flacco plays in
Wow.
Denver now, which I think may not be the worst thing. Like, he still kind of has an arm, and they have some fast young receivers in Denver, so they might be able to get some
Does
shit going.
Demaryius Thomas still? Is he on Denver still?
Demaryius Thomas got traded to Houston, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, because Emmanuel Sanders still plays in.
Yeah, he was just never able to connect like he did with Peyton.
Yeah.
Because they were just, man. I remember playing my very first fantasy football league was one that was on my ship up in, I think it was New York.
Yeah.
We did it. And one of the guys there had the combo Demaryius Thomas and Peyton Manning.
Just killing it.
And he swept the league.
Yeah.
Once the two of them connected as much as they did. But after he left, he was just never... You could tell he still has, I think, that potential, but
right.
he's just not connecting.
When he got hurt last year, too, towards the end of the season. The Lions released their safety, Glover Quinn, and Bruce Ellington, the wide receiver, and Nicholas Grisby, who's a linebacker. The Broncos cut Brandon Marshall, their linebacker. He's definitely going to get picked up by somebody. He's real good. The Bengals running back Mark Walden got arrested yesterday on battery charges.
Battery?
Yep.
That's kind of like low assault, right? Or something like that?
Yeah. And then I have a screenshot of some stats for Julian Edelman because they were absurd.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
How many baby picks do you have now? Billions?
Not billions. I mean, I've got like a fair amount, you know.
I was just curious how many, if you would be one of those people that would just pick up on that.
No.
Some people you never expect. You're
I
like,
take
wow.
some of them, but I don't know. I'm much more into like enjoying the moment than taking pictures. Jordan
That
and I are
doesn't
both
surprise me.
Jordan and I are both really bad about taking pictures with each other. So
I'm really bad at it. Carolina's not, but I'm really bad at it. But I'm working on it because I know it makes her happy.
So Julian Edelman, these are his stats for the playoffs, right? For postseason.
Okay.
In the divisional round, he had 9 catches and 151 yards. In the championship, he had 7 catches for 96 yards. And then in the Super Bowl, he had 10 catches for 141. Fuck Julian Edelman. I hate him. I hate him so much.
So that was, you're saying 9 catches for the whole season?
No, that was just for that one game.
That's game?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These are his postseason stats.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
for
Postseason.
the divisional round of the playoffs, in that game, the divisional game, he had 9 catches and 151 yards in that one game. In the championship game for the AFC, he had 7 catches, 96. And then in the Super Bowl, he had 10 catches and 141.
Man.
It was ridiculous.
That's so...
Fuck Julian Edelman. Fuck Tom Brady. I watched the Super Bowl, and then as soon as the time expired, I changed it because I was not gonna watch Tom Brady get another trophy and another fucking. I wasn't gonna do it. I wasn't gonna watch.
My guy that I held on to on IR all season, Rex Burkhead. Burkhead.
The Burkhead.
Yeah, he did pretty well too.
He did.
I was like, you son of a bitch.
Yep.
Gronk was doing pretty well.
Yeah.
For when they weren't running the ball.
They ran a lot. Sony Michel looked real good.
Terrible, terrible Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you ready to hit a line? Get the fuck out of here?
Word.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, I got a good one. Have you seen Passion of the Christ?
Yeah.
I've seen it 12 times.
What? That's fucking weird, man.